everybody, and welcome to Roundtable Live for June 3rd, 2016. My name is Bear Taffy, joined by Maths Games, Rock Lee, Smile, Northern Line.
Hello.
What's up? Whoa,
traumatized. That was very loud.
That like, I don't know what was going on there, but you blew out my headphones.
Say that again,
dude. Oh God, Jesus
everyone's
Christ.
too loud.
What is happening?
Welcome back to the show. Gone for a week and returned 3 hours earlier here on a Friday afternoon for your enjoyment. I am Bear Taffy with Roundtable Live. I hope you're all doing great. Mathis, good to have you back, man. How you been?
Oh, well, I was here for the last podcast.
You were, yeah, but we gotta, like, you know, keep the illusion up that everything's going ship-shape.
I was missing.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was at an anime convention.
Yeah, man, MomoCon. Was that your first time going there?
Yeah, my first time at MomoCon. I guess the convention's been going for like 11 years, but it was mostly, or is mostly, run by a college, and it was their second year at like a proper convention center. And it was nice. It was really good. It was like kind of a medium-sized convention. It wasn't like packed with people, but it also wasn't a ghost town. It was
Here's Roundtable's question for the day. You can remove one letter from Momo. What convention would you rather go to? MomoCon, MomCon, MMOCon, or OOMCon, the convention for object-oriented modeling?
It is a toss-up.
OMCon.
It's a toss-up for me between MMOCon and MomCon.
I want to go to OMOCon. That's Overwatch Mothers Overwatching.
That's, you added an O there. I don't understand. I thought you said you were removing an O. How is it OMOCon?
No, I'm just. You said remove one letter, so I just
first
took the
M.
front
letter.
M. Yeah.
All right, I thought you said remove an O.
Yeah, I want to go play Overwatch with a bunch of moms, man. That's my ideal convention right there.
You'd probably get play of the game.
Yeah,
Look,
I hope
I'm not
so.
trying to like stereotype, but moms don't have as much time as we do most of the time, I think.
Generally true, I think.
True.
Yeah. That's a good. That's like a backhanded mom compliment. Well done. We had Mother's Day pretty recently, so we could slip that in there.
Yeah, I like it, Nick.
Mompliment's good. Mm-hmm.
Who is Momo? Or do you know?
It means peach in Japanese.
It's a peach convention.
It's because it was in Georgia.
It's
so.
in Georgia.
Oh,
Okay,
wow,
that
yeah,
actually makes sense.
that's awfully
then.
fitting then. Cool.
Got it.
Actually, a great answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There you
Well,
go.
let's talk about some video game stuff, shall we?
Hold up, is our audio fixed?
You sound normal now,
Yeah,
but
I
Get
think we're all
excited,
good.
man. This.
woo!
I
Get
think we did
excited.
the thing where we were quiet for too long and Skype decided it needed to shake things up.
Does do that.
Hey! Hey!
Yeah, everything sounds normal now.
Heyo!
Hey.
Uh-oh!
That is like the ideal sound check, I think. So, docket for today. A lot of fun stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about GOG Connect, a new initiative by GOG to make themselves more relevant in the distribution area. The Xbox One has a temporary price drop. We believe it to be temporary, at least, down to $299. We also got some interesting product cycle rumors to discuss in that venue. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege gets a starter edition for $15. There's a really interesting conversation to be had there. As well as No Man's Sky getting delayed to August. The HTC Vive is in Ryan's hands, too. We're going to be talking about that for a little while. As well as our, just sort of a pseudo-retrospective on Dark Souls 3, I guess. Along with
We
Dead
finally
by...
talk about it.
Yeah, finally get to talk about it. Along with Dead by Daylight, Doom, and there's just a little Blizzard game called Overwatch came out. I don't know if we'll maybe talk about that a little bit. For now, though, let's talk about GOG. Let's talk about GOG Connect. This was just announced this week. GOG is promoting a new initiative to allow people to connect their Steam accounts to their GOG.com libraries. So you can just go to their platform real quick, sign in using their little connection feature, and then you can actually load games from your Steam library into your GOG account, onto Galaxy if that's the software that you're using, or whatever your equivalent is. Temporarily, the games available on the service include The Witness, Faster Than Light, GalCiv 3, Saints Row 2, a few others as well, and Witcher Enhanced Edition is also included in those. And it seems like it's only going to be a temporarily available feature, so it looks like there's going to be like this run of games that you have time to import into your GOG account if you have that opportunity, if you have that option. And then they're going to go away. And then a new cycle of games will come in, and you'll be able to import those into your account as well. So there's a couple of things to take away from this. I think the first being the obvious one, that this is sort of the the first sign, like this is how back a few months ago we were seeing that Rocket League was beginning to open the doors between Xbox and PlayStation cross-play communication, right? So that was the beginning of those endeavors. And now I think we're starting to see the groundwork for a little bit of a peace treaty maybe between two of the big distributors, obviously one being a little bit more noteworthy than the other in this circumstance, but I think it's a positive sign. What do you guys take out of this?
Don't take us the wrong way. What's the point?
Yeah, that's
the
a good
point
question,
is
too. Mhm.
the point is you connect your Steam account and then you, instead of having all of your games via the Steam client, you actually have them installed standalone on your computer. So say you wanted to go on an airplane but you forgot to put your shit into offline mode before you got on, you could still play FTL.
Yeah.
Am I understanding this correctly?
You have a good head on your shoulders about it. Like the inverse of this would be far more appealing, I think, to a lot of people. But obviously, that's a lot harder for GOG to actually provide. And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be like promoting it as something that they're offering like this. You know, for GOG Connect to be promoted, it has to actually provide some sort of benefit to GOG, and it does in that it makes people think about GOG more. Right? I think that's almost the biggest benefit that they get out of this, because other than that, they're really not seeing any sort of value, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at, but even like from a consumer standpoint, I guess, 99.5% of when I play PC games, I'm at my desktop playing Steam or on my laptop playing Steam games, so it doesn't seem that interesting to me, but I know that there are people who are like really, really into having no DRM versions of their games. So I guess it's cool for them. I wonder, like, was this the first time that there's ever been the ability to get these games on GOG? If not, like, why didn't you just buy The Witness on GOG instead of getting it? I might be ignorant of the actual motivation for this, though, admittedly.
Could be deals on one side and not the other at a given point. Cause somebody to buy one for the wrong platform they didn't want. I was hoping that it would go in both directions, that you'd get them for both platforms. When you sync it, you just find them in both sides. But I guess now it's just the one direction, and also temporary, and also a small selection of games. So it's a bit confusing.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly like the initial offering, I think, is what makes it a little interesting, just because they're promoting this, and it can get a little confusing because it can seem like, oh, these are now like cross-platform titles, I guess, where you can buy them on either service and then you get them on both. But that's not really what's happening here. It's if you own the game already on Steam, then you can connect that ownership to your GOG account. It's really not that appealing when you boil it down to brass tacks, right? It's not really a great offering for people. It's just like, hey, this is sort of an olive branch that we're extending to you. If you really want to use Steam still, but you know that you enjoy the appeal of DRM-free gaming from GOG, then you can make that transfer. But I think this is the groundwork. I don't think this is really like a big offering itself. I think this is hopefully laying the foundation for more connectivity between the two platforms in the future. It's
definitely more in GOG's favor. Steam doesn't get shit out of it.
No, not really.
It's people to get. Honestly, it's just a marketing thing to get people on GOG's platform. I think. We'll see if it really does anything in the future, because it's not like Xbox to PS4, because it's just your PC. You're not going like one PC to another. It's not really cross-platform. It's please use our service over their service kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's what I take away from it.
This reminds me of, like, you ever like accidentally, like, Reddit will do an update and then it pushes a subreddit you have no idea about to the front page. Yeah. Like, sometimes I accidentally find myself on, like, the Linux subreddit, and I'm like, people care about this stuff, and I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
This is that news story for me, is, like, I know that people really care about, getting non-DRM copies of their games that they already own.
Yeah.
I guess, more power to them. It doesn't hurt me. If anything, it helps me, and thank you for, I guess, being the vanguard for that, instead of just letting ignorant idiots like me be okay with having everything locked away, even though I've already given them my credit card information.
It's easy to be cynical about this, just because it really is not that noteworthy. But you're right. Yeah, I think this is probably a lot more important to a niche of people that maybe we don't necessarily fall into, where the ownership, the complete control of your files and your systems is probably pretty damn significant to some people. So hopefully then this is solving some dilemmas in that regard.
There's really no negative to us. I mean, it just doesn't affect us. It's just it's a positive to some, just neutral to us, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the gist of it there, right? But good on them. I hope that one day we see some sort of connection between the two, right? And just a full-fledged, if you own it here, you can also own it here sort of vibe. And I doubt that there's really any possibility of that entirely happening, but this gives me hope. This gives me, like, a promise that maybe we're going in that direction.
Hook it up with Uplay so I can somehow send my Uplay games to GOG and then send them from GOG to Steam.
Yeah.
I want to boot up. Yeah, I want to boot up an Ubisoft game and have all three things start at the same time.
Just link them all together. How many? All right. So on your PC now, like, can you think off the top of your head how many launchers do you have? I do have Galaxy installed, so I've got Galaxy, Steam, Ubisoft's Uplay, Origin, Battle.net. That might be it.
Yeah,
that might
I
be
think
all five.
I still have Desera installed, but I don't think it does anything anymore.
I don't have that Desera anymore.
I remember having Desera installed, and I actually, like, I leave the automatic pop-up shit on for programs that I feel like I should be using, but I won't unless it forces me to. And Desura was one of those, because that was back in the times where I was like, okay, I really want to get more into the underground indie stuff.
Yeah, this is the frontier.
Yeah, I really want to try to, like, actually be actively involved in this. And it's just like every time it would pop up, I was just like, okay, no, not today. Yeah. No, not today.
Don't forget about Rockstar Social Club too.
Oh yeah,
that's
there we
its
go.
own launcher.
Do you guys have you still have Glyph installed from Atlas Reactor?
That's another
I
one.
don't think so.
I don't know if I have Glyph installed anymore.
Did Atlas have its
Atlas
own
Reactor?
launcher?
Atlas Reactor's a good
games.
game, but to install Glyph, their proprietary launcher, just to play Atlas Reactor, I was like, come on. It's a little too far.
Launcher forever. Eventually, every single game is going to have its own individual launcher.
I mean, it's borderline necessary, right? You got to have somewhere to promote those microtransactions, man.
Yeah.
We've done the circle jerk on another episode, though.
Come on. It's such a fun jerk, though.
High Res had its own launcher. They
did for a while.
Yeah.
Yep. Good times.
I guess
lots of launchers.
Any multiplayer hero shooter / MOBA has to be connected to a launcher that's not Steam, except for Battleborn.
I guess then League has its own launcher too, then, doesn't it? I should have counted that one. The Riot launcher. That's its own thing. That's an independent
Riot launcher.
product.
That's a gun in Doom.
That sounds like it. We're gonna be talking about Doom later. Nice, good promotion. In-show promotion. I like it. All right.
Not really a gun in Doom.
I feel like you could really make like a good marketing push for GOG if you just licensed "Let's Talk About Sex" by Salt and Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'd be like, "Let's talk about GOG. Let's talk about The Witcher 3.
Oh,
God.
Let's talk about their recently released new client, Galaxy.
Oh,
Let's
goodness.
talk about G."
It
You have
writes
an
itself.
unnatural talent
syllable
for this
thing.
bullshit.
I don't know where it
man.
comes from. I just
It's magical, is
vessel.
what it is. That's why we give you a means by which to channel that creative energy there, man.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Let me switch boats here real fast. We're going to talk about the Xbox One. Now starting at $299. Oh goodness. Anybody gonna go buy one right away? Yeah? No? All right.
Whatever
here we
To replace the one I already have.
If you don't own an Xbox One, you're thinking, oh, now's the time. Wait till after E3 because there's got to be a reason. Like E3, they're gonna announce like a new version, a slim version, a VR capable version.
Yeah.
Like
They're trying to offload those fuckers on you right now.
Actually, part of the scuttlebutt now is that Microsoft is working like with Oculus and with HTC. The thinking being that for like room scale stuff, the Vive might be integrated, or HTC technology might be integrated for room scale HoloLensy type stuff, and then for seated experiences, they might be using some kind of Oculus partnership or something. So we'll see if at E3 something like that shows up. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that's it. Like, cut the price a little bit and then be like, hey, we're going to come out with like a $699 Xbox One that is VR capable or something like that. Not that everything has to be about VR, but it seems like there's a little scuttlebutt there.
Yeah. The interesting part of Microsoft's approach here.
Bear?
Did Bear die?
Yeah, I died, I guess.
Oh no, he's frozen.
I can.
God.
Ryan's frozen on my screen as well. Nick, you're not.
They're both frozen.
Oh,
hello.
The Medusi's
are we
them.
back? Are we back?
Back.
Are we back? All right, good.
All right, welcome back.
Hey, that was fun. So the interesting part of the Xbox conversation is, like, so there have been rumors circulating now that Microsoft is trying to push more toward an annual hardware cycle. So similar to the thing phones do, right? Where every year you get the new S7 Edge with waterproofing technologies and a 0.4-inch larger display with high pixel resolution. But now they're trying to bring that platform to the console, to the home console market. There's been a lot of rumors circulating around and nothing really concrete yet. The ideas range from them just trying to improve the GPU built inside every year or so that, you know, give consumers some sort of easy upgrade access to make the console better as the years go on. Or it could also even be as simple as the idea, like, so, you know, we know that PlayStation has continued to run the PlayStation Slim, PS2 Slim, PS3 Slim for like 8 or 9 years now. And that's another conversation going around that Microsoft is probably going to be looking to go that route too. But I'm mostly concerned about the annual product cycle approach. I personally, I'll open up the conversation by saying I am like hugely cynical about that. I really don't feel like it's the right direction to go. I don't agree with the idea that consoles could be upgraded with the consistency and the ease. Well, not the ease. I guess that's sort of a relative term of, you know, upgrading a PC, but it just doesn't seem like the right way to go, but we've never really seen that before. How do you guys feel about it?
It doesn't make any sense because you can do phone annual things because you sign a 2-year contract and you can get that $700 phone for like $100.
Yeah.
You can't be like every year $700. Here's an Xbox. Here's my new Xbox for the year. Like that just. It's not going to be feasible for people.
Put in a removable graphics card and then sell you a subscription service with a contract that says every 2 years you get a new graphics card for your Xbox One. I mean, the CPU probably wouldn't be the bottleneck in that case, right?
I guess not. And I mean, like, if we're looking at this as just like a sum of its parts, right? Oftentimes I look at the console and I never really see like, okay, it's got the GPU and the CPU in there and it's all running the same kind of stuff that my computer at home is running, right? But I've never seen it that way, and I don't think a lot of Xbox consumers see it that way either. I don't think a lot of the people playing on Xbox realize what's under the shell, you know? And that's not necessarily like trying to spit fire at console peasants, right? I'm not saying like they don't understand what's going on. I'm saying like most people don't understand what's going on, and that's perfectly valid.
Well,
I also can't imagine that this, like, one of the nice things, although this doesn't happen that much on PC anymore, but, you know, like 10 years ago, you'd be like, why do console gaming over PC gaming? Well, when I put the disc in my console, it just works. Like, I can take it to my friend's house, it works. Everybody's running the same hardware, so if it works in, like, their testing environment, it's probably going to work in the wild. Like, this opens up a whole spectrum of potential problems with, like, oh, I have, like, the 2-year-old Xbox video card in the shell of the original Xbox One. Like, there's just, like, myriad permutations of hardware that it's going to... I mean, I imagine, not being on the inside, so it's a guess, but it's going to be a little annoying to make sure that everything actually works on every possible permutation of that. And it seems like it removes one of the advantages of console gaming, which is kind of like that plug and play aspect where you can just put it in wherever and it'll work.
And it seems like they're having a hard enough time hitting the target when everyone has the exact same hardware. So if you start fragmenting it, like, the games are already pretty broken now.
That's true.
How much more broken are they going to get? It's going to be hair and teeth and eyeballs all around.
And on a more personal note, too, I'm beginning to really just have a lot of negative feelings about my Xbox purchase, man. Like, they started back in the day when the goddamn Halo Master Chief Collection debacle went down. That thing was broken for about 6 months before being at least functional the way it was meant to be upon release. And that may not have a lot to do with the actual console and hardware itself, but I still get that bad taste in my mouth anyway. And then, not to mention, I've been complaining to you guys a little bit about the HBO Now app on that thing, which just sucks balls, and that could also just be another software thing. But really, just the console itself, I've had quite a few like hard crashes with that thing, which is
Really?
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
like freeze ups and like forced hard resets on a console, which does not
Maybe it's
bode
overheating.
well.
That's not what you want.
Yeah, no, and exactly. Like Microsoft and Xbox have had a nasty history of console overheating and like huge issues with their hardware. Like, let's not forget the Xbox 360 Red Ring of Death. Like that's the meme territory
plague.
from 8 years ago that has almost been forgotten. But it was a disaster. So many consoles just turned into hot garbage, and they haven't bred a lot of positive energy and confidence in their systems to make me excited about the potential for continual upgrades.
I sort of feel like they haven't fulfilled their promises with the Xbox One yet. I do know people. I know one person who is happy with his Xbox One purchase, and it is not to paint all people that have an Xbox One like this, because I have one as well, you have one as well. But basically, he bought it because when he was a teenager, he played a bunch of Halo, and then he bought the 360, so he played a bunch of Halo, and then Halo came out for the Xbox One. So his friends bought it, he bought it, and he plays like once a week with them, and he's like semi-happy with his purchase.
Yeah.
But he's also the kind of guy who, like, if he broke his controller, he'd be like, well, I guess I can't use this anymore. Like in 6 months, maybe I'll get another controller, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
as someone who owns an Xbox One, I may not have turned it on in a year now. And the last time I played it was for The Witcher 3, which was making an excuse to play on the Xbox One. So it's not even really like a fair situation, I guess. And it's not to insult consoles, because if I didn't have a PC, I'd probably use it a lot more. If I didn't have a gaming PC, at least I'd use it a lot more. But I sort of don't feel like I want to give them more money. I don't know why you would. Like, if it gets to the point, if you bought an Xbox One at launch, and then you're going to like buy upgrades for it 3 years later, you have to be at the point where you're closing in on like $800, $900. At that point, I think you almost have to accept that you could just get a gaming PC that does
Hey,
that.
you can
And
put it in your living room, man.
yeah, exactly.
There's plenty of options. I feel like they still haven't escaped the deficit of bad will, or goodwill rather, from the backpedaling
announced
from
it?
the E3 thing,
Yeah.
which was before it even came out. I mean, I don't own one, so granted, it's not like I have as much firsthand experience. I've only ever used one once, but I didn't think it did anything that was really that transcendent or beautiful that made me want to go buy one at all. You know, everything it can do, I can do on my computer and more.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of feels like a waste of money to me.
I mean, we've gone down this rabbit hole a million times, but we're in a position where, like, consoles for us, I mean, we would buy them exclusively for the console exclusive games. We don't buy them for the everyman game because we have our PCs.
Yeah.
And the Xbox One for us has probably the least amount of exclusive games that I give a shit about. Where the PS4 has like the Uncharted series, it has the Bloodborne. It just has a lot more exclusive stuff that I care about.
Yeah, like you said, like I think we all know fairly well that we don't necessarily have a lot of draw to the console. But I think the hypothetical we're dealing with here is that if it were to have even more like similarities to a PC, that's almost what they're arguing for here is, well, let's make it more similar to a PC, and then people will want to buy the Xbox more. And the logic there is just, no, I just want to keep buying a PC because you're giving me the exact same options. It's just the other one's way better.
The closer they become to a PC, the more reason people just have to get a PC because it'll end up being cheaper. So I don't know. I mean, it's all hypothetical, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see something like that because I think they're smart enough to realize that's a stupid move. I think more likely we're going to see one or two different versions of the Xbox be announced at E3.
Yeah.
One VR capable and one maybe just what it is now, but a slim version essentially that's going to be slightly better built. I don't think we're going to see like swap out like graphics card, PC, customizable type Xboxes. I just think we're going to see what the PlayStation is going to do, which is their VR bundle type game.
Right, yeah. So at this point then, Xbox has to have VR something, right? They've got HoloLens, we know that, and I don't think that's going to be their consumer level push. So they've got to have something. Yeah, they've got to have something right now that is competing with PSVR. And like you said,
I think E3 is where we're going to see it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be some sort of Xbox One VR hybrid console, something along those lines.
Having used the HTC Vive, this is very much like first gen technology. Like, it's clumsy. There's a 5-meter long cord that is like 3 cords that runs from the back of your skull into a computer, like wherever it is. If your computer is not in the room that you want to play in, like it's pretty cumbersome. I really think that one place where Microsoft hypothetically could make some inroads is if they were like, okay, at E3 we have it's going to be a VR bundle like the PlayStation 1. Maybe it's like $800, $900. It's expensive, but I think it's sort of realistic given the prices that have shown up for the headsets for the Oculus and the Vive unit itself. And just have it like, this is a box you put in the room that you want to do VR. It comes with a headset. It comes with whatever, haptic feedback controllers we can offer. And people are going to be like, I'm not going to pay $900 for that. That's fine, but having used the Vive and dealt with this cord, kind of wrapping around me a little bit, and being quite cumbersome, I'm like, you know what? If I could just plug it into my TV and put a headset on for $900, that it's a little bit more of an elegant solution. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be a selling point for me personally.
I don't think they're actually allowed to announce starting price points of $800 at E3 anymore. Ever since the initial PS3 announcement. Ridge Racer
for $700.
Yeah.
I don't get it. What is? No. I'm just thinking, like, what is the sales pitch for an Xbox One, even if it does have VR? Like, where's the software?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
There's nothing to talk about.
The consoles aren't necessarily like, it's for people who don't really do PC gaming. So.
So, like, Uncharted just came out, Ratchet and Clank came out, Bloodborne came out. There's all this stuff on Sony, but what does Microsoft have going on? Forza and Halo.
At the same time, like,
and Gears of War.
It's different audiences.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just PC stuff ported over.
People who spend more time on the internet like us are more likely to be into like Bloodborne. Yeah. And then people that we never interact with because they don't even know what Twitch TV is are the people spending like 400 hours in Forza.
Those are the people we got to get watching this show, man.
That's the untapped demographic.
Yeah. All right. This is the Xbox One. Let's talk about Rainbow Six Siege's Starter Edition, which I think is a really interesting thing right here. Rainbow Six Siege has been out for a while. I don't think that's really any big news to anybody. And the news there is that the Starter Edition has been announced. It's a $15 version. That's way too big of a thing. Hold on. I gotta abbreviate this in our topic window. RS6. There we go. People know what that is, right? Sweet.
Yeah.
RS6 Starter Edition comes out on Steam. It's $15. Provides full access to the Rainbow Six Siege game for 15 euros or $11.99 USD. Instantly unlocks up to 4 operators. Requires additional grinding to unlock the remaining 16 original operators. So there are 20 operators in the game, right? If my math checks out there, give me a moment there to double check. But of course, the big issue here, if you're looking at this from a cynical standpoint, is that each character takes another 12,500 renown to unlock, which is a long time to play the game to acquire that amount of digital currency. But on the bright side, it's a $15 version of a $60 game. So there's two sides to this coin. There's an argument to be made for and against. Who would like to take the side of against, though? Who wants to be?
I would.
Who wants to be against this ideal?
I would, because they're having their cake and eating it too. Mm-hmm. And I really like Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, I can check on Uplay or via Steam, but I'm pretty sure I have like 80 to 100 hours in it. It's definitely, in hindsight, one of my favorite games from last year. People were like, at $60, without a true single-player campaign, is a little dire in terms of the amount of content available. I don't think the right solution is like 6 months later or it is 6 months later, releasing a version of the game that is even more threadbare but cheaper. Like, it sends the wrong message to me to have, okay, you can buy $60 and still have to like unlock the operators, which is silly to me.
Yeah.
Look at Overwatch. You don't have to unlock the heroes in Overwatch. You just start with them. Not to mention there's DLC. Or $15 and we'll give you 4 characters, and then you can also unlock like another 2. There's like 20 operators in that game. So I really just wish that they would do like if they wanted to do this, do a free version with a rotation of operators, or the $60 version, everything's unlocked to begin with.
Yeah,
but the
unlock
way that
everything.
Ubisoft is doing it, because they're Ubisoft and they're making $1 trillion doing this, and again, it's a good game, is you buy it at $60, you get like 2 operators to start with, and then you've got to grind in-game to unlock the other ones anyway, or you can buy boosters, or you can just buy the operators directly. Like, there's like 5 different ways that they're trying to capture revenue from this game that it's starting to rub me the wrong way for sure. And, I mean, it's everyone's sick of talking about Overwatch, I'm sure, but Overwatch was $40 for a game that is basically the same value proposition. You know, it's basically multiplayer-only game, but they gave you all the content up front, whereas Rainbow Six Siege is trying to nickel and dime you all the time.
Yeah.
Not to, like, the 2 extra operators, they're like, well, you can unlock them with in-game play. Each one is literally like 20 to 30 hours of in-game play to unlock with in-game currency, or you could spend $7.50. What's worth more of your time? You know, less than 30 cents an hour is your valuation for your own time there? Anyway,
No,
it's a good game.
I think
but-
you're nailing it. Like, I feel like that's the problem that most of the people had with it. In fact, like, most of the people that are complaining about this, weirdly enough, are the people that have invested, like, 80 to 100 hours in Rainbow Six Siege. Like, they're the people that have seen the grind, and they experienced it. They know how tough it is to unlock these characters, and they see that the parameters for unlocking them for the starter edition people are just, like, way higher than anything they ever had to do. So they know that the people who buy this for $15 are going to be investing like hundreds of hours into the game just to unlock a few more characters, if that's indeed what they want to end up doing. But let me propose the other side of that coin there. This is kind of a nice way for people who aren't 100% sure if they like Siege to get in and check it out. Obviously, like, a demo would be better. I think that you know, like, that solves everybody's problems right out of the gate. But this is at least, again, it's an olive branch. I'll use that term again to describe this. It's sort of Ubisoft's way of saying, hey, we know a lot of people can't really afford $50 games, so here's, if you want to try out Siege, here's a $15 version that's got 4 operators with a, you know, slightly varied play styles. It's mostly the 4, like, main people, I think. In fact, let me see if there's a list of the operators that they give you unlocked on the starter edition, because that would probably help people.
While you're looking that up, I just want to say that I agree. If you're like on the fence, this would be like the way to buy in.
Mm-hmm.
However, I just wish that they'd done this at launch instead of coming out with like a $60 basically multiplayer only game, and then later being like, whoa, the player base is probably starting to dwindle now. Let's like drop the price and offer this alternative option to get in.
Well, you hit the nail on the head right there. Why would they do that if they can make more money doing this?
Exactly.
Right at the
Like
launch, the hype is the highest. No one, like, people who desperately want to play it, everybody's going to buy the $60 version. Financially, it makes sense to do it this way. It's dumb, but if you can kind of compare it to what we can assume is going to happen with COD 4 Modern Warfare. Force people to buy the elite version of the new game to get the remastered COD 4, and then 6 months down the line, sell COD 4 at a cheaper price separately. Like, you double dip into the same group, and people are they're gonna make money. I know it sucks; it's a stupid business practice, but they make money that way.
They're throwing their customers under the bus by doing this, because think of the impression it's going to leave on new people that are joining now, where, you know, you have to actually win to get lots of points to unlock these operators. And if you're coming in this late, you're going to be fighting people who are really good, and you're going to get really frustrated because you're not going to get anywhere. Eventually, they're hoping you'll just spend money and buy these operators. I think more likely people just quit. So maybe it's cheaper to buy in at this level, but it's probably not going to be as fun.
So the unlocks that they provide for you out of the gate, it sounds like you get random operators when you buy the starter edition, which is interesting, from a selection of like the beginning level operators, the entry level operators is what they call them: Rook, Sledge, Ash, Fuse, Mute, and Smoke.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 2 operators from the most intuitive operators at entry level.
Yeah. And then you get slower unlocking of the remaining 16 original operators. You need to spend 12,500 renown on those, which they include an approximation. It takes about 15 hours to unlock one operator using in-game renown. That's a long time. That's a lot of gameplay.
for like a comparison, at the full retail price, I unlocked all the operators with in-game play probably in like 30 hours. So 30 hours like per operator is pretty crazy.
Yeah. So there's an argument to be made here for the folks who maybe value their time over their money. Certainly. Also, maybe
and people
want to buy
it's also not really a dying community either. So they've got a lot of players still playing regularly. So
I mean, it's a hit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's a pretty goddamn successful game, I think. I love the game, too, by the way. I think we're being a little cynical about this particular offering, but I do still want to mention that. I think Siege is pretty damn good.
I love
the game. The game is great, yeah.
But this is just like... it's not exploitative in like an offensive way, but it's just like it kind of like roll your eyes and you're like, this is the same company that will sell you for real money HP in Assassin's Creed, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
They're literally like capturing revenue at like every available source.
Yeah.
You talk about there are people out there that are like, I hate that if I don't want to spend a ton of time grinding out every single piece of loot in Overwatch, I can buy loot boxes. Like, there are people that are offended that loot boxes are for sale.
Yeah.
In Rainbow Six Siege, you buy it for $60 until the starter edition existed. You could pay money for experience boosts. You could pay money for in-game currency that you could use to buy attachments for your guns, some of which are actually objectively better than just having a starting version of it. Then you also have DLC that they came out with and sold that was relatively expensive. It was like $15 for 2 operators, and the maps has everybody has the maps so that the player base doesn't get fragmented. But like, there's so many different ways that they are getting money from people at every available opportunity that you're like, man, like it in a way, again, not to make everything about Overwatch, it really makes you respect Blizzard, and it probably doesn't hurt that Blizzard was like, we're going to sell 7 million copies anyway in the first month. Yeah. But like $40, you get everything. Optional cosmetic currency versus $60 or $15, and then spend the rest of your life trying to grind out operators. Or the temptation's going to be there to pay us $10 for like experience boosts that you're still going to have to grind like crazy for, but.
You're going to get peer pressured into wanting it too, because you're going to be playing with people you're talking to most likely, and it's going to piss you off that they get to keep switching operators and you're stuck with the same 2.
I would also be very surprised if it is not deliberate that at launch you only get 4 operators. You get 2 and then 2 of your choice, 2 random 2 of your choice. Every team has 5 people on it. And some of the operators that are listed there are like the most popular. So there are going to be a lot of games probably where you're going to be like, well, all 4 of my operators are taken, so now I have to play as the recruit who has like no special advantage. And then you're like, well, it's only another, $45 to get everything. Something. Maybe.
I love this in the fact too, or the FAQ. They have the how can I unlock the operators faster when playing the starter edition? They've got 4 bullet points on here, 3 of which are either buy them or wait to buy them when they're cheaper. Yeah. The other is play the game. Oh, that's good. How does the dual currency work? Good sir. How might I purchase a season pass for Rainbow Six Siege? In what manner may I provide Ubisoft direct access to my credit card balance?
That's the other thing, is like the game, beyond all the other ways that I talked about, it also has the thing where it has like 2 forms of in-game currency, which always just rubs me the wrong way as kind of like a deliberate abstraction to make you not realize how many credits you get for an American dollar.
The Renown and the Rainbow Six credits, right? Those are the 2. Yeah.
But it's like, it's a good game, and I think they did struggle, not to say that it didn't do well, I think they struggled to get people to buy into that multiplayer-only proposition, basically, at launch. I mean, we saw it, like, when we were trying to convince, like, Rob to get it. He's like, well, I don't think people are going to be playing in, like, a week. It's because it's multiplayer only. I hope that this stuff gives companies pause, and then they say, well, if we're coming out with a multiplayer-only game, maybe we should release it for $40, and then just, like, if it's good enough, maybe it'll float. But I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's so little emphasis on the let's make it really good part, and so much emphasis on the let's figure out every way to get every penny we can out of it. I feel like they need to consider the making the game as good as possible more, and less worry about how we're going to make so much money.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. I think it's pretty clear that Ubisoft has a, and they make the focus in-house, the financial aspect ahead of the gameplay aspect pretty frequently, it seems.
Siege is really good, though.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's talk about No Man's Sky, probably for as briefly as possible, to be honest, because we talk about it 4 or 5 times a month. No Man's Sky has been delayed again. Coming out on August
this is
9th.
the first delay, right?
Oh,
like,
you're right. Yeah, sorry.
People
yeah.
were under the assumption that it was going to come out in 2015, but it was never announced. And then this is like a delay.
Yeah, this is an official delay. So the initial release date was sometime in June. I think it was like June 24th or something like that. Now we're looking at August 9th, 2016. Not a ton of news there, apart from the fact that people were threatening to kill the developer over it, which I think is silly. A little bit, let's just not
A little
do that
bit.
anymore.
Silly is a bit of a light word, but yeah.
See, and it's not fair to dismiss it because it's stupid and people shouldn't be doing it. But
Yeah.
internet people have fucking problems. Like they are just like death threats all the time to everybody over stupid shit. It's dumb.
Can we just stop death threats?
Oh yeah, that's what you think. Like, don't threaten. I mean, even if you're like sending a death threat, like I don't actually mean it. Like, don't do it.
Like,
it's so stupid.
Let's not even make it an internet people thing. Let's not make it a gamer thing. Let's not make it a No Man's Sky thing. Let's just say stop threatening to fucking kill people. Just
Right?
knock that
Jesus,
shit
man.
off, man. God damn it.
Absent the death threats, which are obviously ridiculous.
Yeah.
What blew my mind is the fact that people are so upset. Not everybody, and in fact, probably a pretty huge minority, but some people are so upset over the delay. It's all because of the marketing. Like,
Thank you. Yes.
it's not a delay of like a life-saving medication
They
or like
have-
a bill that's going to get passed to like, save an endangered species or something like that. This is like seriously, like this game has been hyped up as it's going to change the world.
Listen,
And,
it is fucking Destiny all over again.
People are losing their minds.
Blows my like every time I see this game and every time freaking No Man's Sky comes up, it blows my mind how excited people are for this game because the gameplay that I've seen is it's a survival game with a huge procedurally generated
Guys,
galaxy.
We had this talk already. In the past, it's not the developer that's doing it. It's the press that's so excited to push this idea.
It's
And
gonna
it's
be
gotten out of
agree with that.
control. The developer's trying to minimize the hype as much as they can. It's inescapable for them.
Yeah.
So it's
It's,
very
uh,
frustrating that they're on the negative side of receiving death threats over a thing they didn't even want to happen.
Well,
It's a
let's not
reminder
say they
that,
didn't
like-
want it to happen. That's maybe going a little
Well, they
too
tried to
far.
actively minimize hype. They wanted to show what actually the game was about, and people just wanted to believe.
I don't know about that. I think both sides are painting that in too much of an extreme. The developers definitely benefit from the idea, and let's put it this way, they're not on their Twitter like saying that every planet is not going to be as rich as like the literal Earth. Like people are definitely under the impression that this game is going to be transcendental, I suppose. Some people at least are under that impression.
It's
But
gonna be a 3D Starbound. Every
It
planet's
just-
gonna be a palette swap.
it reminds me
They
that
showed
like
footage though.
different people are in different situations in their lives. It actually is unfathomable to me. Like when I saw that No Man's Sky had a 6-week delay, I was like, whatever. Like literally the news impacted me like a pebble striking a meteor. Like it does not change my life at all.
No.
Instead of playing it in June, I'll play it at the start of August.
Yeah.
But there are people, they have like planned their whole like summers around that game being around in June. The community surrounding that game that is really diehard about it already, the subreddit is all like, if somebody tells you the game's not going to be deep, show them these screenshots. Like, it's advertisements.
That's what
You're,
I
like,
saw that
actually-
made me say that's not going to be that deep.
You're buying into the
Yeah.
advertisements like so fully that, and this sounds patronizing, but I actually like am just sad that these are companies trying to sell you products, but you've already like integrated into your identity to the point where you feel like you have to defend it, or you have to lash out because there's what in the end is a relatively minor delay. If it comes out and it's the greatest game of all time, that's awesome.
Yo, I will eat a
Nobody
boiled
wants-
shoe
nobody rational wants No Man's Sky to suck.
Wait, hold on.
They want
hold
every
on.
game to be great.
Finish that thought, Mathis. What's the
Said
parameters
if it
here?
is the greatest game of all time, I will eat a boiled chew. Is what I was gonna
Well,
say. Like, it's not.
that's loose definition.
So
What is it, like-
here's what's realistically here's what's gonna happen to the game. It's gonna be like Destiny. The game's gonna come out and it's gonna, in my opinion, it's probably gonna be a good game. And people are gonna like the press outlets are gonna blow it out of proportion. It's a perfect 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Oh my god, it's amazing. But much like Destiny, it's gonna be like it's a good game, but it's not what people were hoping for. It's not gonna redefine whatever genre it falls into. There's no way
anyone can ever meet this hype. You can it's so easy to say that, not to diminish what you're saying, but like it can't. It's impossible to be what people want it to be now because people are creating an absolutely unrealistic expectation for it.
In a way, though, I feel like that level of cynicism is even unwarranted because that's based not on the marketing but on the community reaction to the marketing. I'm just over here like, come out with the game, and then if you want to get passionate about it, then that's cool.
Right.
But like the fact that we're in this
We're
situation
arguing
where
over
people are like
the media.
Exactly. We're in this like, where the snake is eating its own tail here. Like the media is hyping it up, and it just like the people get hyped up because the media is hyping it up, and then let me put it this way. I remember being like 13, and there would be like huge arguments over like, are delays good or are delays bad? I actually, perhaps naively, thought that this was a solved issue, that delays are always good.
Yeah.
Like it's
Unless
not
they're
like
Duke Nukem forever.
But I think that
Delays are good
it
until they
might
get
have made
beyond
it
like the
better.
5-year point, and then they start to become an issue.
Right, yeah. It's like I've seen arguments that blow my mind that are actually like, well, if I had like a term paper due on June 1st, I couldn't ask my teacher to take until August 9th to do it. They're making, if your teacher's only concern was you making the best term paper and then selling it to 30 million people, she would tell you to wait till August 9th. Instead, she wants to start her summer vacation so she can spend time with her kids.
Your teacher
right?
is
Like,
not
she's-
looking for you to actually create something of value here. You're getting a
Exactly.
grade.
No, even if you get an A+ on your 10th grade term paper, it's gonna suck so bad. You can never sell it to people. Like, this is a product that is gonna come out that they want to sell millions and millions of units of. Like, there's no due date. It's a shipping date for a product. Sometimes there's delays.
Yeah.
Would you rather they come out with it on like the day they said they were going to come out with it and it be shitty, and then we could have like another Arkham Knight PC port situation on our hands?
Yeah. Weirdly enough, I think you may have nailed it for at least a lot of the people that may be getting particularly angry about this. It might have just been they wanted to spend their summer playing it. Very easily could just be a bunch of kids getting pissed off because now they only get to spend their Augusts playing No Man's Sky as opposed to 3 months. It's still, obviously, don't threaten to kill the developer over that, but that does make a lot more sense.
The whole thing frustrates me so much because the more this discussion goes on and the more people get incredibly emotionally invested in this game, the more that happens, the less we get to actually talk about the game that's actually in existence when it does exist.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's so much time and effort and energy spent on arguing about ideals and expectations and not what they've actually made.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the conversation to be about the actual game. And it's almost inescapable now that won't be able to happen.
I'm really looking forward to actually talking about it when it's out. Definitely.
Me too.
I think it'll be.
But
And there's
Everything
always
they've
this
shown-
dark cloud over your head of like, so how do we talk about this properly to address the expectations? Because so many people are going to be angry about so many things that have nothing to do with the critique.
I hope that, I think upon release, there'll just be sort of a wave of gratification of like, okay, so this won't please everyone who's looking for the end-all, be-all, like Ryan said, like transcendental experience of gaming that we were hoping for. But
People need to stop expecting that ever.
yeah, no,
Yes,
that
agreed.
first of
Hello
all is
Games-
100% true.
Look, I hope that it's amazing, and it still could be amazing without being everything that they promised. But the last game I played from Hello Games was Joe Danger 2, it's a little Trials-like game with some light puzzling elements. Like, this is extremely ambitious, but that, as Nick is saying, like, we're not even talking about the game anymore. It's, a level deeper than that into the marketing, and then the reaction to the marketing, reaction to the reaction to the, and it is frustrating. I agree.
Yeah.
I'd love to just like one of these people who are so hyped about this game and just sit down with them and be like, what are you expecting? Like, what is No Man's Sky to you? What are they expecting out of this game? Because everything they've shown, I get it, the marketing's blown it up, the developers have blown it up, but gameplay-wise, everything they've shown looks like a survival game in space. So I'm very curious what these guys, like what these extra excited fans are expecting out of this game.
If you happen to fall into that category, please tweet us at Roundtable PC and tell us why you're hyper excited for No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to bother to write to us won't be able to give us the answer we need.
I do want to
Really
clarify that, you know, having followed this story for the past week or so and spent some time on the No Man's Sky subreddit, most of it is just people who are excited about the game and disappointed by the delay. But there was some wild stuff, man. Like the Jason Schreier from Kotaku reported on it, and then some dude called 30 GameStops and was like, at each GameStop that he called, he's like, when's No Man's Sky coming out? And then they all told him June 6th or whatever it was. And he was like, check it out. He's got one source, I've got 30.
Man,
and
you called 30 entry-level employees
exactly,
who were telling you what they read on a sheet.
Or no, they look it up in their POS and they're like, oh, the date hasn't been changed yet in their system.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And it's a reminder that, you know, we're in like the 1% of people who care the most about video games. And then within that 1%, there's like a 0.01% that takes it to that level that is actually like, they're
the people that scare us, and we're like the enthusiasts.
I would stop short of saying it's troubling, but it is surprising that it's like, I guess, again, why do you care this much about it? It's gonna be out, you know. In a year, it'll be next June, and you'll be sick of it anyway. Like,
Look, we're all gonna die someday.
We're not old enough to have this experience of going through a bunch of releases of things that eventually disappoint them. Like they're still in the imagination-fueled cycle of their existence, where everything feels like it takes forever and summer lasts an eternity, right? Like this is how it is when you're younger. And seeing that summer go away from you and have that experience not happen for you, it might feel devastating to them. Everything's exaggerated hyperbole. So, like, that's where that comes from. It's just immaturity and inexperience.
I guess, like, I don't even mean to sound like, you know, old man NL here, but you don't realize, like, how much time you have when you're, like, 16.
I know.
A month of summer vacation.
Say, like, remember the time when you get to spend 3 months doing nothing? That was just a part of your annual cycle. That was,
Oh, man, I have to read a book.
Oh,
yeah, I've got, like, 4 books to read. And, you know, some people will be like, that's not me. You know, I've got a summer job that I work a lot at, or I've got to help out around the family farm or something. That's cool. Like that, you keep it up, man. You're building some valuable life skills.
Yeah.
But when I was like 16, I would buy like the new Madden game and then play it literally like 7 hours a day for 3 weeks. Like that is like free time that is unfathomable at a certain point in life. So I mean, if you buy that game on August 9th, you don't go back to school till like the 3rd week of August or something like that, you can still, I mean, if the universe is infinite, it really doesn't matter what proportion of planets you visit, I suppose, but you can visit a lot of them.
There are over 19 quintillion planets to explore. You're not going to get through that in the summer.
That's saying like, that what I said was very dismissive, and I just wanted to qualify that what I mean by that is that I think it's kids that are making death threats because they're just immature. That's all it is. Anybody else is doing it is seriously disturbed, right? So that's why I made that assumption.
As relatively as I can be happy about it, I'm much happier about the idea of it being children that don't understand the significance of what they're saying, as opposed to a full-grown adult who completely understands the implications.
That's exactly why I made that assumption,
The thing that got me about that was this, like, why are you making death threats against the journalists who reported on this?
Like,
oh yeah, that was.
How dare you break my bubble?
Well, yeah, it was like, you know, I can almost follow the reasoning, which is like this guy made this up to exploit our community to get views or something like that. That, I mean, as much as you would,
and he'd lose his job.
Exactly, you could accuse some outlets of that for sure, without naming names. However, if it turns out to be honest, you look like the world's biggest moron. Like, there's no way you can backpedal on that and be like,
man, if he didn't report it, it wouldn't be true.
Yeah.
He's going all in on that assumption, man. He's
You're
willing to accept the
really-
repercussions of it.
You're pushing all the chips in on him being wrong.
Yeah.
In which case, you will still look like an asshole, but people will be like, well, I mean, I guess at least he's right, even though I disagree with him.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's fun. Let's talk about the Vive, Ryan. You want to do that?
Oh, heck yeah.
Let's turn gears on a dime here.
Yeah, last Monday my HTC Vive came in, and for people who are curious, I ordered it in like the middle of April. It was when we were on the Co-optional podcast. I ordered it later that night.
Mm-hmm.
So it came in, and I installed it. The install is really easy, but you pretty much have to do it on a desktop. You can't do it on a laptop for whatever reason, something with the way the HDMI ports are routed through it or something. But anyway, I have played probably like 5 or 6 hours of Vive-related content right now, and it is a really incredible piece of technology. As of right now, I don't think that there's enough software to really be super excited about it to the point where you're like, you have to get the Vive and play this. But it really is, even in my like small ass living room that is barely big enough for the minimum requirements of room scale, it's really, really immersive. And I try to get at least a couple of hours into it a night just to sort of be like, oh, this is pretty memorable right now.
So what have you been doing primarily?
Well, okay, first I will say I was disappointed that you can't get big screen or virtual desktop, which are the things that basically allow you to do your normal computer stuff in immersive 3D. You can't get that without Windows 8.1 or higher, so I'm still running this machine on Windows 7. So I can't like watch 3D videos or, you know, do the thing where you go in the mushroom and watch a movie, which is disappointing because I think that I would spend some time doing that at least to try.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I played like an hour of the lab, and the lab is like Valve's Vive game that is basically a Wii Sports style like mini game collection. And they got some stuff like you can go up on like top of a mountain and then take pictures and stuff like that. Or there's a game where you like grab cores, like they look like Valve Portal-y type stuff, and then like drag it down and use it as a slingshot and try to hit things that are in the distance, which is really cool. And in particular, I really like this game called Longbow, which is just a bow shooting game basically, where you kind of have to like knock the arrows yourself and then pull them back and shoot. And it's actually it's quite a lot of fun. And I played like an hour of Space Pirate Trainer, which is probably the definitive Vive experience right now. It's basically like an arcade space shooter like Defender or something like that, or Galaxian, Space Invaders. But you actually have like two guns in your hand and you're shooting enemies as they come in, and they shoot lasers at you, but you can like reach behind you and pull out a shield and then use that shield to like deflect the bullets back at the enemies, which is really cool. And then I played like an hour and a half of Audio Shield, which is basically audio surf, in the sense that they look at the tracks on your music library, procedurally generate a ride that you take, basically, and then you just use your shield to, like, punch the notes that come in.
I'm using my shield right now.
That's
this
video
guy.
But yeah, like, so far, I haven't played everything that we've got. Like, I haven't played Job Simulator. I haven't played Hollow Point. I have a code for Fantastic Contraption, but I haven't played that yet. And I haven't played Tilt Brush. And those are the ones that people are like, you got to play all of these to really get your experience out of the Vive. But I played Pool Nation VR as well, but it runs really poorly on our setup. It's like 45 frames a second, which is just nauseating in VR.
Yep, nope.
Oh.
So I played that for a little bit and then was like, I'm gonna definitely throw up for like an hour. But I didn't.
No, that's awful.
But yeah, so far it's really cool. As much as I can say that it's an incredible piece of technology, and it is, there's really no reason to buy it if you're only interested in the software. If you don't want to be like one of those early adopters who's, you know, sacrificing a paycheck in order to get out there and experience this new technology, then you don't need to get it now. But I do, having played it, it feels more than a gimmick. and not like more gimmicky. It feels like it's more substantial than an actual gimmick. And the room scale technology works surprisingly well. Like I don't have ideal setups on my Lighthouse boxes, but it tracks me really well with like a longer cord. That's about it. But apart from that, I'm just waiting on some better software, like some really transformative like experience that is not just a tech demo. Because right now it's like this tech demo's cool, but I would like to see. I'd like to see a game.
Yeah. So how's the comfort level of the headset?
It's like a 5, like compared to having nothing on your head. Compared to having these headphones, this would be like a 9 out of 10 comfort level. Like I could maybe sleep in these. But the Vive headset, it's a little heavy, but it fits well. It's got adjustable straps, but the cord's coming out of the back sometimes. In particular, the headphone cord. Sometimes it gets like tangled up and pulls out of your ears and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's pretty comfortable. But certainly, I have to imagine that for future models, they're going to work on getting rid of the fact that it looks like something out of Soma, and maybe get a little lighter.
Man, I'm cool with that. Like it looks ugly as hell, but it's awesome. So.
Does it feel like it's hanging off the front of your face when you have it on, or does it feel like it's part of your head?
It feels like you're wearing like a hat, basically.
Okay.
Like it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall off the front of your face. I've had to use the adjustable straps quite a lot in order to keep them like pretty tight to my head. But people are asking like, if you got a big head, how does it work for you? I have a huge head. Like an enormous head.
You don't have that big of a head. I got a big head, man. Come on.
You and I both have large heads.
Yeah.
Like I would say like one standard deviation above the average for sure. And like it fits me fine with a little bit of room to spare on the Velcro. If you have an enormous head, you might have an issue. But if you're just a big-headed person, I think you'll be fine. And you can wear it with your glasses on as well.
That was
like,
gonna be my next question.
Very, very comfortable.
Is it hard to get them under the lens, like in front of the visor, or do you have to like put them in ahead of time, then put it on?
No, you can just keep them on and then put the visor on up top. Yeah, just slides in.
So how impressive?
I'm ready. The Oculus has like a little lip, and you got to like slide them up under it, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass. But other than that, though, the Oculus I have to say is super comfortable. So I'm curious to wear the other one and see how that compares.
You thinking of getting a Vive too, then, Nick?
I mean, someday, obviously, yeah. But right now, I can't really swing another $800 after the $600 on the other one.
Seems reasonable. Mathis, you were gonna say something there?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get a Vive after owning a DK2 and using that quite a bit, and then I used the Vive yesterday actually for quite a bit of time. Using the Oculus DK2, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Using the Vive was like a whole nother step of like, this is insane. For me, anyway. And I think a lot of that has to do with the room scale stuff and the controllers. And it was just being able to even walk even a small distance and have that playroom just brings it another step of immersion and just like forgetting, okay, like I'm in a VR headset. Like the presence is really incredible. And I played Tilt Brush, Space Pirate Trainer, and like Under the Ocean, where like you just kind of walk on like a sunken ship and fish swim around you and a whale comes up, which isn't a game. You just kind of walk. It's an experience. But using Tilt Brush in particular, man, for the artistically inclined, that game can be pretty incredible. For someone like me, I'm like, this is fun. And you just kind of squiggle. And you walk around your squiggle. You're like, wow, my squiggle's 3D. Like,
that's why I haven't played Tilt Brush, is that I'm like, I'm going to get in there and be like, oh, whoop, 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 whoop. And then, like, I don't really know what I'm doing.
But it's crazy how quickly your brain is like, you're holding these controllers and it's like, now it's a gun and a shield. And you're just like, yep, all right, I'm holding a gun and a shield. And it just clicks.
Your brain is incredibly stupid. Like,
it really
you very quickly become, like, in that world, which is really funny.
Yeah,
like,
it's nuts.
I really like in Space Pirate Trainer, the feeling of, like, grabbing the shield off of your back when you need it is really fun. And you're getting into the point where I was like doing like some cross-up stuff, and I was like, I am actually a human being in real life doing this. People might be able to see me stop this right now. But I was like, it's really cool. And the thing is, right now, there are a lot of barriers to entry. Like, originally it's expensive. The Vive itself is expensive. You need room for it. You need a computer that can handle it. And then every game on Steam that has any kind of like weight to it or any kind of length to it is like $25 to $60.
Yeah.
$25 to $50. But There's like games come out that are like Lightsaber Trainer, which is probably going to be, DMCA'd any day now if I had to guess. But
I think they call it like something else, but
it's like it's light blade VR or something like that.
There you go.
So you have a lightsaber, and then this thing shoots lasers at you, and you deflect them. That's like $4, but that's all that happens.
Absence of Darkness sword. Sorry, I had to come up with another real quick.
So it's like it needs just a little bit more, because even if everybody had a Vive, people are not going to be like, well, I'm going to pay $40 for this game in which I like sit in the sniper's nest and just shoot waves of enemies that come after me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, eventually there's going to have to be at least some convergence of what a $60 game means not in VR with what it does in VR. Otherwise, like, people are not going to be happy paying $25 for tech demos over and over and over. Surely that stuff is coming, though, because there's so many intelligent people that we follow on Twitter that are in the game dev community that are like, I dropped like my game that I was working on to make something in VR because its technology is so like potentially transformative. So hopefully that stuff within the next few months starts coming out. Right now, it's kind of like, this is a cool toy. It's like having a Wii and only having Wii Sports right now. But you can really see how this could be a huge thing for the industry.
One of those things I want to have people over. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
You
gotta try this.
Mm-hmm. I hope that the party aspect of it actually gets expanded upon too. I wonder what the possibility would be of just having like some sort of spectator headset, so it doesn't necessarily have to have like all of the features of the full-blown Vive, but maybe like allow the people in the room to also sort of experience just like a lesser version. Maybe, I don't know how
right now,
plausible that is.
Given the Vive setup right now, it would not be plausible, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Vive has 3 cords that come out of it for USB, HDMI, and then the power for the headset that then go into the HDMI port and the USB port on your computer. So you would need to, the way it's at least architectured right now, you would need like 8 HDMI ports if you wanted to have 2 monitors and then also like put headsets on for
that brings me back to the days of bringing like 24 port splitters to LANs, man. Good time.
They could sell a box that basically just repeats the signal to a bunch of inputs. I mean, if they really wanted to do something like that, it is possible.
That'd be neat.
So I was a little curious about a couple of the things though about it. Like how's the heat level for it? Do you feel it get hot on your face at all?
Yeah, maybe after an hour, I start to get a little sweaty, but I'm not sure how much of it is like moving around in room scale with this thing tightly on my forehead and how much of it is the actual unit. But the HDMI cord gets like crazy hot.
Oh, geez.
I
didn't even think about touching the cord. That's a good point.
The HDMI cord, when I unplug it to plug in Kate's second monitor so she can use her computer again, is like almost too hot to touch, which is surprising. Relatively minor quality of life problem, I suppose.
What about resolution? Did you find it to be at all like the edges look like they needed some anti-aliasing on them, or?
Yeah, some of the stuff looks fuzzy for sure. Text is pretty bad. Like, you can read it, but it gets fuzzy, and especially
seems very first gen, right? Like, it's got this kind of like not quite done feeling.
Pool Nation stuff that was far away looked really, really not good.
Yeah, that was my noticing too. Like, anything that was a distance, like if you had to look far away and then you're going to go toward that, it was really tough to rationalize that we were like in a space, really, because it was just so jaggy looking far away, and it kind of ruined the immersion a bit. Also, what about like repeating the signal to your monitor? Did you have any trouble doing that, or did you try to do that?
Like the way that Steam VR works, as you're playing on the computer, it has like a preview window of what you're actually seeing in the headset. That worked fine, but I didn't try to capture that signal in, like OBS or something like that and see how it looked. But
I was just curious because it was not seamless for me on the Oculus. It should probably be, since it's built into Steam, though, for you.
Another question.
But the setup was good?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just asking, was the setup seamless, fairly easy and all that?
Fairly easy. Like, it helps if you have furniture that you can put the lighthouse stations on, but you can also screw them into your wall or into like a tripod or a light rig or something like that, which is fine. And even like we've just got them kind of propped up on like a lamp and a tall bookshelf, and they track really well. Like, occasionally they'll lose tracking if you're standing like at an angle that occludes them from seeing each other, like if your head is in between the angle they'd use to see each other, but most of the time it's totally fine. But you do need like 2.5 by 1.5 meters. Otherwise, you won't be able to comfortably do room scale. We're like right at the minimum edge of that, and I'm bumping into my couch and like accidentally touching my TV pretty consistently.
So as far as the hand tracking goes, I've always wondered if there were any differences you noticed between apps. Like, did you ever feel like the tracking was less effective in a certain app as compared to another one?
Not really so far. You know, I tracking just gets bad when I stand at like one angle, and then that's it. But it gets bad in like the Valve game. It gets bad in the menus. Like, that's
Could it
just
be fixed if you put your lighthouse sensors higher?
yes. I think like right now they're at the suggested height, but they could get even higher. So
I gotta say the Oculus tracking is like really good.
Yeah.
It almost has never at all broken. Like I could do just about whatever I want, and it seems to pick up on it immediately.
That's great.
So it's another thing in its favor, I guess.
The Vive I was playing with yesterday had the lighthouse trackers hanging from the ceilings.
Yeah.
So like I could do anything and it was fine. Like handing me the controllers, like that was a wild experience having the headset on and the controllers just handed to me and just being like, oh yeah, there they are. And it's like, oh, these are my hands now. Like
when you enter the Vive universe, like when you start up Steam VR and it's just like a white space, and then there's just two controllers floating in the ether in front of you. You like walk over to them and just pick them up and feel your hands actually pick up the real world controllers. You're like, what?
it's nuts. It's weird.
It is.
Again, like you said,
wild.
your brain is stupid.
Immediately, it's like, I guess I live on the moon now, and that's
the space
All
fire
right.
trainer thing you said just made like that's what I was doing yesterday. I was like blocking behind my back and just like it just made sense. You're just like yeah.
The way the audio works, you can hear like an alien ship come up behind you, and then hear it power up, and you're just like pulling the shield out and holding it behind you and shooting at another one, and you're like,
God.
this is
like
the
I'm
way
a
you
space
do
pirate
it.
trainer. This is
But Space Pirate Trainer, as good as it is, I don't think it's enough of a killer app because it's just it's just too short. Like you play for like an hour, that's like 30 rounds of Space Pirate Trainer and you're done. You know, I want to do something else now.
Yeah.
But it's not there yet. And even like Fantastic Contraption, I played an hour of it before it was finished last year in the Vive, and it was awesome, but it's not, it is a game, but it's a sandbox. It's not like an experience that you would pop into and then, you know, spend 40 hours and be like, that was a really amazing game. I don't mean like in the pedantic, like, is this a game, isn't it a game argument. It's just not the thing that I'm looking for to 100% sell me on the hardware.
It's not worth $800, you know, unless you're...
Exactly. What I'm looking for is actually, it would be difficult to imagine from a traditional sense, because in room scale, you can't like walk around an open world.
Right.
Because like you get to like the edge,
Unless
and
you
then
have
you're at the edge
whatever that
of what's
is,
basically a playmat. Right, yeah, the chaperone
whatever
walls
thing.
like keep you in. But the way they get around that is they use teleport on the D-pad. So you just point where you want to go and you teleport over there, and then you've got like a new 2x1.5 box that you can walk around in. But I need something that like is, I'd like to see something that is a game, like almost a traditional AAA style game, or like an ambitious indie. And I hear Budget Cuts is setting up to be that. Budget Cuts is only a demo right now, but it's got some cool stuff. Like I've seen GIFs of people like putting there's a spot. It's a stealth game. There's spots where you like look through vents, and people accidentally like try to put their head through their own fucking floor because they're so
I'm just gonna
invested.
go in.
They're like on the ground and they peer in through a hole. But I'm looking for like a game that solves the problem, I guess, of feeling so much like being in an art gallery.
Sure.
Because right now you're like, even in the lab, you like teleport somewhere and you're like, this is really cool. But you're kind of teleporting from exhibit to exhibit, and then interacting with each exhibit like you're in the science museum or something like that.
Right
What
now,
would be
I
really
think
is if
sit-down
there was a-
experiences.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like I haven't played it sitting yet, but I also wish that there was like a game that got around that problem in a way that also felt like more than a tech demo, I guess.
Fair. Yeah.
That's I
Also,
don't
your
want.
brain
I,
is-
That's talking about. I don't want the 6-way treadmill. Like that's too far for me.
Your brain is also surprisingly okay with teleporting around. And you're like, this.
Yeah.
You just know where you are. You teleport and you're like, I'm not disoriented. I know exactly where I am.
Yep. It does seem to work.
Teleporting does not trigger my my motion sickness at all.
Me either. It's
What
weird.
does trigger my motion sickness is any game that runs at like less than 70 frames per second.
I think it's 75. It's supposed to be like the minimum.
Yeah, like things are supposed to run at 90, and the lab, Valve's game, looks amazing, runs at 90. Loading times are ridiculous, but still, like when you're in the experience, it's great. Space Pirate Trainer runs really smoothly, feels like no motion sickness at all. VR or Pool Nation VR, for whatever reason, is poorly optimized, at least on our setup, and I've seen people talking about it as well, and it's like I can only play like 15 minutes, and then I start to feel nauseous. Even on, like, they have settings, and on low, we were getting like 50, and it was bad. And on ultra, we were getting like 24, and I was like, I'm going to die. This would actually...
I even had it myself when I was playing Mine Path to Thalamus. There was a situation where you shoot yourself up on top of these like air tunnels, and I would get up and it would bounce you like a trampoline. And the moment when you start to come back down, it's like I could feel my stomach feels like it needs to drop, and it doesn't.
Yep.
And then that disconnect totally even got me, and I really have no problem with motion sickness.
That's
so
the roller coaster problem in the Oculus is the same way. I'm like, I'm supposed to be feeling something right now. I'm not. Oh, I'm gonna.
And
vomit.
you can't get away from it either. Like with a computer monitor, you would just like look around you, but this it's like it's wherever you look. So you're
Close
just
your eyes,
in it.
man.
Mm-hmm.
And
There have been
it's
some
kind of claustrophobic, actually.
Yeah.
There's some really cool, like, not set piece, but showcase moments that I think if you put the Vive on someone and, like, showed them this, you could sell a Vive to, like, 50% of people that you showed it to. Like, in Space Pirate Trainer last night, I was like, I wonder if this works. And I, like, held my shield out in front of me like a serving tray, and then shot it with the gun and used the shield to just like reflect my own bullets at the enemies, and it just worked. And then it gave like haptic feedback on the shield and the gun, and I was like, this is sick. And then I pulled out the gun and I shot myself, and it did damage to me, and I was like, this is crazy, man. Like, I'm in the game. Stuff like that. It's all over, man. It's all over.
Yeah.
And especially like in Longbow in the lab, basically it's like it's almost like a tower defense, but you're the only tower. So like the hordes of enemies are running to you, and you're on like the top of a castle, and sometimes you can peer out over top and then like just rain down arrows on them by like firing as fast as you can. It's really cool.
That's
It feels very immersive, and definitely like it's up to developers at this point, because the technology has met the standard that it needs to meet. And if we can get like some software that's really impressive, that would be awesome.
What's the headset setup for the Vive? It comes with ear something, right? Some sort of audio?
It has a jack for headphones, doesn't it?
It has a headphone jack, yeah.
Oh, so you don't use anything built in? Because the Oculus has the little things that pop down over your ears.
No, I mean, you could plug in whatever headphones you want, I suppose, but it comes with some fairly not amazing earbuds. And in general, like, I think that needs a redesign for sure, because I don't know about Mathis, but every time I put it on, it feels like the headphone cord is being pulled, and it's like too short to be pulled, so it comes out of my ears occasionally, but
that's annoying.
I guess I could just put longer earbuds in.
I was using yesterday just like proper headphones.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I should try
I had
that.
no issues.
All right. Any other Vive questions? No? I think we're good.
I don't think so.
I'm sure we'll talk about it again, but this was...
Yeah, I could probably come up with more given the time, but that was mostly what I wanted to ask.
Again, like, it's not quite worth the money if you have to ask if it's worth the money right now. If you're only in for the technology, by all means, go nuts. But it's lacking a little bit in terms of software right now, which is to be understood, or to be expected, I suppose. But you can definitely see it getting there. It's only going to take like 1 or 2 games to blow people away, I think, and have it feel less like a museum exhibit and more like an actual gaming peripheral.
Yep.
Right now, I'm almost sold on it as someone who's kind of on the fence, mostly because it's $800 goddamn dollars.
You should wait for the second gen of it or something. Because it feels like it's new, and it feels like it still has a lot of rough edges to work out.
Yeah.
That's maybe what I would do for the Vive anyway.
And
now that I know what I'm expecting, wait for the second iteration.
Yeah, like the things that draw me to it right now. I actually watched Jacksepticeye play a little bit of the Space Pirate Trainer, and that looked really fun. He makes everything look fun, but he was getting real sweaty too. So I'm not surprised to hear you were building up a little sweat yourself.
I can't even imagine, man, like recording that with your proper lights on and stuff.
God, yeah.
Oh my god. No, thank you.
So
Yeah.
goddamn, I'm sweaty.
My shoulders hurt from pulling back the fake arrow in the fake bow for like an hour.
Oh god,
Which
it's
is
hard.
Really embarrassing when you think that in like the 13th century, like malnourished English longbow archers could do that shit.
Yo,
for,
have you
4
tried to
days.
pull back a bow though, for real?
When I was probably like one of the child bows when I was like 12 or something, but
Yeah.
not a real one.
Have
no.
you guys ever tried it?
Yeah, they're crazy
Shit's
heavy.
hard, man.
Yeah.
It's so
I tried
tough.
it once in my
And they
life, and I
scratch
couldn't,
up your wrist too if you
Yeah.
don't do it right.
proper bow. I couldn't. The one time I tried it, I couldn't pull it back.
It's
I was like, I can't
tough.
do this.
Like, you don't think it's going to be, but then you get up there, and it feels like you're pulling back
Yeah.
fucking 300 pounds of force. It's ridiculous.
You want,
You gotta hold it.
you see Legolas, and he's just ripping like 3 arrows a second.
I was like, I'm built like an elf. I figured I could do
I
this.
think they disguise Legolas's muscles, man. He's got to have fucking traps built off his back like 3 feet. Tilt brush, though, and Tilt Brush and Space Pirate Trainer, honestly, are almost enough to make me want to pick it up, though, even at the $800 price tag. Because, like, I know that Wife Taffy would love Tilt Brush, so that almost alone is worth it. But, yeah, we'll see.
I went into Tilt Brush being like doubting like how accurate it was going to be, but no, that blew me.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I see now. Fuck, now I think I got to get it.
Oh, just wait, just wait.
All right.
It'll be like when one really, really good experience comes out for it, that'll be enough to be to the point where you're like, okay, it's cool technology and there's something awesome for it. Now I have like no reservations except for the fact that it's super expensive.
Yeah.
Apart from that, though, like it's almost there right now. It feels like when you put it on, you feel like you're a CEO of like a major tech corporation or something. Like you have technology that should not be accessible to the general public. Like this is some kind of like Google invited you to their headquarters for something that you didn't deserve, and then they put you like, hey, check this out. This is going to be all the rage in 2050. And then you're like, whoa, this is amazing. It's like domestic time travel.
Damn, that's high praise, man. You're not doing anything to dissuade me from making this purchase. Oh, shit. Okay. Let's talk about Dark Souls 3, because we've been putting that off for a while.
Finally.
Yeah,
I know,
man,
right?
that's-
Like 2 months.
Just let me cede the floor to you then, dude. Take it over.
No, I mean, like, all 3 of us have beaten except for you, Bear.
Yeah, so-
it's I loved my experience with Dark Souls 3. I thought it was super great. I think Dark Souls 3 is right under Dark Souls 1, but I think
hold
Dark
on,
Souls
real
1.
quick, spoiler warning?
Oh
I think-
yeah, we're talking
Yeah,
spoilers.
Okay,
we should
yeah,
just
so-
do the proper combo.
Cool.
Yeah.
So full-blown spoiler warning. If you have not played Dark Souls 3, mute. Okay?
Yeah.
Good?
I think it's
Good.
been long enough now that it's fair to talk
In
about.
fact, here, let's do
I
this.
had to be the last person who's ever beaten it, right?
Yeah.
There we
Dark
go.
Souls 3 for me sits directly under Dark Souls 1 as in like the Dark Souls my favorites, but I think Dark Souls 1 only holds that position because it was like the first Dark Souls
the
games
Dark
I ever
Souls.
played, so it's hard for me to really top that nostalgia factor and going into a Dark Souls game not knowing what the hell to expect. But Dark Souls 3, like, it's super polished. It was from start to finish, I just enjoyed the gameplay, I enjoyed the environments, I enjoyed the story. Definitely more in your face with the lore than any other Dark Souls games I've played, but I think they did that on purpose, and I loved every second of it. I thought it was excellent.
Thoughts, Nick?
I think it's also my second favorite of the series, but I'm a little bit more reserved on having such an overwhelmingly positive opinion of it, just because I think, well, like Mathis said, my first Dark Souls was my first Dark Souls, and it never will be able to reach that point again. That being said, however, beautiful environments, lovely things to go see and do, but I did feel like it was a little bit on the linear side, in my opinion. The environment didn't mesh with itself as much as I would have hoped for, but it still did some job of that. And in general, I thought some of the environments felt a little bit drab or samey. There were maybe 4 or 5 of them that just sort of felt like they were leading to somewhere else, but weren't any identity of themselves. The ones that were off to the side, though, were awesome. There were a couple of secret areas that I honestly just wish there were more of.
There were only 2, right? That I'm
There
aware
were
of.
2 really secret areas, and then a couple things that were just like really awesome to see.
Okay, got it.
Obviously, when you walk out of having beaten the big Skullman boss and you see that vista in front of you
Yeah.
with the giant city that's like fucking Kingdom Hearts ahead of you, that's
Yeah.
an awesome moment. And there's, another moment within that moment which was also quite cool. I honestly wish they took that moment even further. Should I just say it? I think we all know what
Yeah, spoilers.
I've got
Spoilers.
giant banners running down the screen
Yeah.
that say spoiler warning right now, so you're fine.
Right. Well, so Anne Orlando's in the game, and you get to see it, and you don't realize it's coming, even though you should have about 5 times over, which is, I thought, beautifully done. They really nailed that moment. I honestly just wish there was more to see there, other than just the, run up the stairs, through the thing, fight the boss, and then you leave. Would have been kind of cool if maybe you got to revisit the original Firelink or something somehow. But, that it was a cool moment, and it definitely took me back a little bit to see that. In general, game was really good. Maybe a few too many predictable or overly frustrating bosses in a row. It needed a little bit better pacing toward the end, I thought. But minor gripes, I guess?
Boss-wise, man, it's hard to say because, like, that game, Dark Souls 3 over the other Dark Souls
really heavily favors sword and board play more than anything else. And I had trouble. I had trouble with one boss, and it was the old Demon King. He fucking handed me my ass over and over and over and over again. The final boss was like on my second try, I beat him. The Nameless King, I beat him on like my 5th try. Like most bosses, I walked through pretty easily because sword and board is just super powerful, I think, in this game. And this game super benefits you taking your fucking time, because if you explore everything, by like halfway through the game, I had like 8 Estus at like +5. And I had a Morian blade, which was like a kind of a secret weapon that was like almost fully leveled. If you take your time and explore, you're going to be overpowered for most bosses. Just 1 or 2 destroyed me, and it was the old Demon King just fucking wrecked my shit. But as far as casting is concerned, I'm heard it's way harder in this game than in other games. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like my thoughts on Dark Souls 3 in general, I think it is below Dark Souls 1, but it's impossible to tease out how much of that is like not just nostalgia, but how novel Dark Souls 1 was the first time you played it. But we've been down that road before.
Yeah.
I think I like Dark Souls 3 a little bit less than most people, but I also like Dark Souls 2 a little bit more than most people. I would say Dark Souls 3 is still better than Dark Souls 2, but I'd probably put them closer than most people would, because most people would put Dark Souls 2 at like a 4. But let's not go down that road again. I do think that from a balance perspective, I wish that casting was viable, or pyromancy at least from first-hand experience was viable at the start of the game. I went into it under the impression that it would be kind of like Dark Souls 1, where you would just have like Pyromancer's axe in one hand and the Pyromancer's flame in the other hand, and just kind of not go buck wild, but have casting be viable. And fireballs really are not viable. You kind of need to get like, you need to beat the old Demon King effectively, or get to that point in the game to get to the point where pyromancy is actually viable. When you get there, it actually makes a lot of bosses much, much easier. So there is a little bit of like a slow roll to start with and then a trade-off later. But I still, even later, would have rather been sword and board from just an efficacy perspective.
Sword and board is just sword and shield, right?
Sword and shield,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, Bear.
Yeah, now I'm not up to terms with the terminology and all that.
But when I was fighting like the last game bosses, I basically got to the point where, or the end game bosses, I was basically just like running out of their attack range and then pressing right bumper and then dodging an attack, pressing right bumper. I guess it's exactly the same as the way you play sword and board, but like I was so far away that there was like nearly no risk of being hit when I was doing it properly. And it was kind of like, I want to be in the shit. Like I want to be up. I want to be dodging under swipes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's my own fault for playing pyromancy. Like I should have done that instead. But it was good. Like I found myself enjoying it. Unlike every other Dark Souls game, I don't see myself wanting to play it through again anytime soon. I do need to still beat the Nameless King, which I think I'm basically at, but I need to probably just get like 2 hours to grind it to make sure I get the kill in there.
Nameless King suffers from being easier sword and board, in my opinion, because the second phase where you fight him, he has some really nasty, like, long-range attacks. But if you can get close to him, he telegraphs his melee attacks really easily, and you can kind of just circle around him. That's all I did. Like on the fight for the second phase, he telegraphed an attack. I just roll around him, slash him 3 times, wait for him to do it again. It was super simple. The first half with the freaking dragon is a disaster with sword and board because the camera is fucking horrible.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
way too
fairly
fast for the
big
camera.
problem pyromancy as well, because you got to target like the
head.
You got to target. You want to target the man, and then the fireball falls and hits the dragon on the head. But if they ever move over the, like, you're throwing it and then he moves like as you throw it, and your dude just kind of like, you know, fans it in the air, and you're like, oh good, there's like 12% of my FP is gone. But like, I will say one of the things I didn't like as much in Dark Souls 3 as I think most people did is the fact that I almost think it borders a little bit on fan service. Like, I almost think it was a little bit like a movie sequel where you're like, oh shit,
like, absolutely.
Oh, there's like that character that I remember from Dark Souls 1, and like, oh shit, that's like R2-D2's, you know, tire treads or something like that, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff where you pick up loot and you're like, this is loot from a character in Dark Souls 1, or this is an environment from Dark Souls 1. And it's there to connect the games, but at the same time also just sort of feels like a little bit of like a cheap,
it was safe. It muddied its own identity.
We know you're a fan of Dark Souls 1. What if we referenced Dusk of Ulasil? And you're like, oh shit! Like, I feel good because I recognize Dusk of Ulasil, right? Or like, I recognize the Xanthus crown, and you're like, it's nice that it kind of creates the illusion, or it creates the perception that the games are in the same universe, but I think it's a little cheap as a way to build lore, to just reference something that happened in the first game, as opposed to what the first game does, where it basically just puts you in a world in progress and is like, figure it out. But it wasn't like it ruined the experience or anything like that. But it did feel like it was almost like a little too referential to me.
It was pervasive through almost the entire game. It felt a bit distracting, honestly, that these are moments they could have used to establish some other narrative, but they just kept going back to Dark Souls 1, which, you know, I love Dark Souls 1, but at the same time, I wanted to play something that was its own world in a way. I don't know. It's got good and bad points. It's not all bad.
I mean, from a lore standpoint, they're like, well, this is the final Dark Souls in this world. They're pulling basically all, because it's like, we're in a world where, at least in Dark Souls 3, has been close to the Age of Darkness as we've ever been, as far as like when your hero shows up. Like, no Lords of Cinder have relinked the flame. They're resurrecting 5 different Lords of Cinder to relink the flame, this, that, and the other. But it's like all these worlds from all these different times are coming together, which is why the world seems all fractured and stuff. But I agree that there wasn't a need to throw that much Dark Souls 1 lore all over the place. Like, it was everywhere. I get a little things here and there and be like, oh, this is from Dark Souls 1. Or maybe it could have been like, oh, this is also from Dark Souls 2. All these timelines and worlds are converging as this world is falling apart. That could have been cool. But it was like Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 1. Which, I guess I kind of understand because it's like the send-off for the Dark Souls world, but they could have gone a lot lighter.
And to skip on too so much, I mean, if they wanted to establish a cohesive universe, I don't know that there were any references to Dark Souls 2, were there?
Apparently you can find Lucatiel's mask.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's something. And there was a reference to Demon Souls also. I think one of the final bridges was supposed to look like one from Demon Souls.
All right.
It's a solid like 8, 9 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
I don't know what the console experience was like, but it did benefit the game, obviously, on PC being very smooth and fluid. It felt responsive. It felt the way you expected it to feel. Camera was a bit of a problem on a couple bosses, like you mentioned, but it was nowhere near as bad as Bloodborne.
That was why the old Demon King was such a pain in the ass. The camera on that fight, because they're 2 mounds of demons that it just keeps getting, like, hooked on, and the camera just goes from zoomed out to zoomed in to zoomed out.
I know. Giant and Firelink, I forgot about that. That drops the seed. That's true.
Yeah.
Right. Sinvicta actually like refunded Dark Souls 3 because of the camera.
Really?
And I was like,
oh wow,
I get it. But then sometimes I forget that I've played so much Dark Souls that I'm used to holding my hand on the controller in like that weird
you get that.
Mechanic.
You're running and moving the camera at the same time, and
I'm like, no, it's very simple. You just have to treat your controller as if it's a device that was not made for human consumption, and you know, just handle it that way.
I remember the claw days back in Halo, man. That's when the bumper jumper wasn't available yet. You had to fucking move your index finger up to
jumper.
Yeah, man, because you had to. That's old FPS shit. You had to use your thumb and your index finger simultaneously in order to do all the crap you wanted to do. But that was never having to deal with a shitty camera. That was just because of the lack of button configurations.
Yep.
All
I
right.
have to say also, I looked at Dark Souls 3 with a very analytical eye from a graphics perspective too, and they did pay it a lot of attention. The detail is, there's a few issues. It's not perfect, but nothing is. But they really did consider almost every angle for a lot of things.
That's good.
So I looked at it that way too. Big improvement over 2 in that regard.
All right. Sounds like overall highly recommended by all parties then, yeah?
Looking forward to the DLC.
One thing I did want to touch on, though, real quick. Ryan, you said you're probably never going to go back and play it again. Do you guys feel the same way? Replayability maybe suffering a bit this time?
Yeah, I don't think I'll play it again either.
I never
Just the
went
DLC.
back. I never. Yeah, when the DLC comes out, I'll play the DLC. But none of the Dark Souls I went back and played through a second time. I liked my one playthrough, and I'm happy with it, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And I went out of my way to, like, I didn't touch any of the spoilers for boss fights, but I did spoil some of the secret quests, like how to progress through them, so I could see the secret ending. Didn't spoil what the ending was, but the steps to get to that secret ending I spoiled so I could see it, because I knew I was never going to go back and watch it again.
Gotcha.
After I like accidentally triggered the first couple of steps of the secret quest, and I was like, oh, this is going to get me the secret ending. I'm going to look at what the next steps are so I don't fuck it up.
Fair enough. Cool. All right. I'm going to hang on to Dead by Daylight till next time, I think, if y'all are cool with that, since that's coming around June 14th. We are going to talk about Doom for a bit as well. I think that was mostly just Nick, right?
Yeah,
checked
I
out
played Doom.
All right.
I
Nick
have
played
Spice
Doom.
must flow.
Nick,
What's that?
tell me all about Doom.
All right. You probably heard about this game by now. I mean, it's been kind of an influential FPS. But the premise is dude has to fight back zombies from hell on Mars. It's a story as old as time, right?
Yeah.
And
That's back
so
when
they
you didn't have to
reimagined
try too hard to make a story. It was just like, yeah, all right. I can roll with that.
They've reimagined it again. It's sort of another reboot, because technically Doom 3 was sort of a reboot of original Doom, and they've sort of wiped the slate clean again for another angle on the same premise. And this time they went at it with all guns blazing, figuratively and metaphorically. The general premise here is that it's all about just action. They really went as hard as they could on visceral, fluid action, and the game actually performs really well. They went further away from the horror element that they had in 3 and really emphasized just all about really good gunplay, which I think makes a lot of sense. And I don't think the game's perfect, but I definitely think it is a good heir to the throne of Doom, as something that is actually very near and dear to me. Doom was one of the first things that got me interested in like modding communities and mapping, so I care quite a great deal about the game, and I was quite excited to see that they were taking this treatment. I was a little bit worried after the multiplayer beta. We didn't have the best of impressions from that, but it seems like the single-player campaign is very strong. I've got maybe about 8 or 10 hours into it now. I think I'm actually pretty close to the end of it.
Nice.
In the few sessions I've played so far. The story's a little bit silly and predictable, but you don't play it for the story, you play it for the shooting, and they actually very much enable you to completely ignore the story. In fact, one of the first moments when the game starts up, you wake up on this stone slab, and it starts telling you story exposition, and the dude just literally just punches out the computer, and he's like, all right, time to shoot shit. So that's the
great.
attitude. It's super, like, aggressive roid rage, like, just shoot and kill and maim and destroy and rip and tear.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
I've heard one of the main appeals is the fact that it gets you going just like instantly in the campaign, right?
Yeah, there's no lead-in, really. You just start, and there's 2 zombies near you. Get a gun off the floor, you shoot them, and then you're in the campaign, and that's where you go. Just little by little, you're going through these sort of vague sci-fi facilities, as often the case, towards this tower, which is sucking energy from hell. This is the story, by the way, is that humans have destroyed the Earth, and there's no energy left. So we've decided we'll summon energy from a portal to hell, and use that to help us.
That's like the BP answer.
It backfires. Yeah, so it backfires. The demons start coming through the portal, and hence Doom Guy comes in to save us. I think he might be like a mythical figure in this game now, so they've kind of gone off in a very strange direction. I don't hate it, though.
Doom Guy is like a superhero now?
He's like Doom Guy, Spartan God of War, crazy God man or something. I don't really know.
A little bit of Kratos in there.
Maybe a little bit. He's very angry, and that's okay because it benefits him, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of changes they made, though. I mean, Doom was a game that wasn't about traversal. It was just a flat, essentially, game where you just shoot at things on the same level as you. This one is very vertical. In fact, you even get a double jump in it at some point, so it's all about jumping. There's a lot of platforming. the level structure is sort of broken up where you'll see a bunch of big open areas where you get into sort of these wave-based arena fights for a little while, and then you'll clear out all the waves of that, and then you'll move on, try and find a key or try and find a new gun or whatever, and, you know, map out the area if you can. It is non-linear to the extent of the way Doom levels used to be, in that you can wander around and you never really get locked out of going back. So if you pass something, you can go back and look for it again. You never get pushed forward, but the levels are generally linear in the long-term sense of things, where you're just going from point A to point B. It's not like you can branch off and go off in search of other levels or anything, although maybe there's secret levels. I haven't run into any, though. There's also a lot of upgrades in this game. There's these shards that power up your overall stats for your health, armor, and ammo, and those run independent of weapon upgrades. There's these side upgrades that happen to your weapons. There's also runes that augment your character and let you like suck in items from further away, or perform those glory kills from different distances. And there's little challenges to get those unlocked, which are hidden in the worlds themselves. So there's a lot of character progression in the sense of stat-wise, which I didn't expect to have. And there's also a good variety of how you can attack things between not only just shooting them a few times and doing glory kills, but you can get like multiple different upgrades for each gun, which sort of augments the way the game progresses, because you can't get them all right out of the bat. So if you have a gun you love, maybe focus on that for a while, then move on to other guns. By the end of the game, you should have the majority of them, I suppose. It lets you be a little creative, but I'm going to stick mostly with the super shotgun because it's devastating and it feels really good to fire.
Nice.
Graphically, the game's really, really pretty. Although you have to sort of have the caveat of it's still Doom, so it's going to be a lot of dark industrial corridors.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of outside areas where you're just in sort of drab, yellowish environments. They're pretty in and of themselves, but I think there might have been some more colors involved, could have made it a little bit nicer. But there's a lot of attention detail paid to the geometry. It all looks lovely. I had a couple of gripes with some of the enemy designs. The imps don't really look like imps as much. The pink demons are probably the worst looking out of the whole game. They made them like armored. They made them really big and bulky and armored, and they just don't really look like the pinkies that I remember from Doom and Doom 2.
Oh, okay.
I mean, ultimately, they took a slightly different direction on the art for that stuff. But the big guys, like the Barons of Hell, look exactly like you'd expect them. The Cacodemons look like you'd expect them. If you don't care about the names of demons or any of this stuff, this won't matter to you. But just as somebody who's played a lot of Doom. Ultimately, the most important point is the guns feel really good to fire, and the action is really visceral and fast-paced. My only gripe is just there's a little too much of the wave-based arena fighting, ultimately, for me. I'd rather it was a little bit more spread out, a little bit more exploration.
Did you play much of the multiplayer then?
I just played for the beta, and it seemed really bad. So, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll try it again at some point, though.
I've heard pretty good things about the multiplayer now, so maybe they made some adjustments from the beta period.
Maybe.
All right. Sweet. Thank you. That's Doom. Available $60, May 12th. You guys have any other questions about Doom?
Would it be better if instead of being called Doom, it was called Dorn, and then instead of Doom Guy, you played as Michael Dorn, who played Worf on Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Yes?
Almost objectively, right?
That sounds like a great mod.
Yeah, that's
Somebody
really
should
good.
make.
In like the
Speaking of
same
mods, they have
stylized
SnapMap.
text.
There's actually a whole modding community built into the game with a customized level editor and everything. It lets you really tweak everything about the game, and the community's gone pretty wild with it already, making stuff that seemed impossible, as they've actually opened up like every detail of editing to it in SnapMap. I've only looked at it for about 5 minutes, but it seems really cool.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I'm surprised you turned that into like an actual valid
I
observation
totally
of
forgot
the
to
game.
mention SnapMap, so it is a big part of the game. It's something I should mention.
Awesome. Cool. All right. That's Doom. $60 came out last month. That came out last month. Holy fuck. That's nuts.
Time flies, man.
Time
only-
flies when you're playing Overwatch, which is the next game on our docket, and oh my god, I love it. Overwatch.
People gotta be sick of hearing Overwatch. at this point.
Overwatch. I'm gonna keep fucking shouting it from the rooftops, man. Overwatch is
good game.
So fucking fun. I've not had a game that comes to mind in recent memory that has sucked away time like Overwatch has for me this last week or so. It's just been ridiculous. So let's get the nonsense out of the way. This is the new hero shooter from Blizzard. If you haven't heard of Blizzard, you have heard of Blizzard. So why are you lying to me? Overwatch So I went into Overwatch with a little bit of cynicism because after playing the open beta, I had fun with the open beta. I thought it was enjoyable, but I sort of lumped it into the same category as Battleborn and Paladins, and I don't think that was a good thing for me to do. I'm going to retroactively.
How many times did we say do not compare to Paladins or Battleborn?
No, it's 100%
Not the same game.
legitimate, and I'm going to rescind that comparison because they're invalid. Overwatch. I don't even know where to begin. It's okay, so let's start here. The level of polish in this game is ridiculous. Like the open beta and the closed beta both serve their purpose quite well because I know that there have been like horror stories in the past where heroes were just terribly imbalanced. Shit was basically busted to a certain extent, but they fixed it up. They made it very nice. And it's really goddamn impressive. Like, just the amount of polish on the animation, on the characters, on the environments, just everything is just a ridiculous level of, not perfection, you know, it's got its issues still, but it is just ridiculously impressive to look at. The gameplay is thoroughly satisfying and varied, too. Like, there's the heroes you can play, they all are appealing. Like, there's probably like 2 or 3 out of the 20 available right now that I don't really want to play or enjoy the style of. But everyone else, they've got their own unique things that make them interesting. Like, I play Hanzo primarily, who is the archer sniper guy.
So hot right now.
Hanzo.
Hanzo.
A new respect for him for the ability to pull that bowstring back, by the way, now that we've discussed that too. But yeah, he's like the sniper role. There's the Widowmaker, who's another sniper role. But then you got guys like Reinhardt, who has a huge hammer and a massive shield. So if you're not really somebody who picks off 15 to 20 people every game with sniper headshots, then you can go with Reinhardt. You can still contribute to your team really effectively. And even if you don't want to go with somebody like Reinhardt, you got like a Mercy role who's, you know, pretty clearly defined support class, but is also like really fun and has a gun that is fairly effective too. So like most of the characters I feel can handle a lot of different situations pretty well, as opposed to characters that would typically be confined to one role and otherwise be basically boned if they got caught off guard, right? Like, consider like a support class in something like League of Legends. If they were soloed 1v1 by an attack class character, they would probably die without any sort of contest, right? But with Mercy, you can actually pull out your pistol and kind of convincingly duel someone. So it's just
everyone says that they're all liars.
It's you. It's you.
If you have to pull out your gun as Mercy, something's gone terribly wrong. You
Usually.
fucked up before you walked out of the door.
I could gush forever. I want to hear Nick talk about it for a little bit, though, because I know he's got not such a high opinion as I do.
I'm fine with it. It's just I just don't get the hype to the degree that everybody's so worked up about it. It's fine. I don't think it's a bad game. It's just like it's good for a couple of weeks, and then I think I'm going to move on. You guys are just so into it.
I don't know, man.
I don't get how into it everybody is.
I'm actually kind of with Nick. I think it's a really good game. That's not in question.
Oh, fuck. I just realized it's 2016's Rocket League.
No, it's not.
No,
it is,
no,
man.
It's not.
Me
I'm
and
still
you are
playing
all
Rocket
in.
League.
Mathis and Nick are like, I don't get it. I think people are going to be sick of it after 2 weeks.
No, I didn't say that. I just said myself.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to get sick of it. It's Blizzard. Blizzard's not going to let you get sick of it. They're going to do a lot of stuff to keep you involved. They already have basically their what is the Hearthstone like weekly challenge thing?
Tavern Brawl.
Yeah, they have that in Overwatch basically. It's like a different mode that they change, like maybe your cooldowns are instant or you're double the health or whatever. It's a really good game. It's really polished. It's incredible looking, and it feels really good to play. And a lot of that is because Blizzard went out of their way to make you feel good. They don't show you the enemy stats. They don't show you your ally stats. They just show you your stats, what you did, how you contributed to the match.
Mathis, they don't make me feel good when I open a loot crate and it's fucking 4 sprays. I don't feel good about that at all.
I mean, like, match-wise,
I know,
statistically, the game goes out of its way to be like, good job. You did a great job this match. Excellent. They don't want you to feel bad about it. And I think that actually goes a decent way to making the game replayable or more approachable by maybe the more casual shooter player, as opposed to like the super competitive person who wants to be like 19-0 on the team. But for me, unless I'm playing with friends, I don't care. Like, I don't want to play it alone. I want to play with a 6-stack or like a 5-stack in a random. If I'm not playing with my friends, I just don't want to play the game because it's not fun. And it's good, but I just don't see me like I haven't melted hours to the game, and I don't see me melting hours to the game. But I can see how somebody who really loves shooters would fucking adore this game.
I think it's a real missed opportunity that there's not a single-player mode. I think I would have possibly gotten much more into it if I could have gotten to try some of the characters in a not competitive setting.
You can training.
Yeah.
Well, with some story or something to back it up, so I feel like I'm making progress towards something. Honestly, the way Rainbow Six did it, where it gives you a little bit of something towards unlocks, would have been enough for me with some like little story exposition stuff. Because it seems like it's got a pretty rich universe, seems developed, right? They've got all of those cartoons about the characters. Why not integrate that better into the game?
What kills me about it, with the lore, obviously, in the universe and stuff, is this is what's left over of Titan. Of whatever the MMO they were making was going to be, which was going to be a different type of MMO. People were saying, the rumors were at the time were like, it's going to be a sci-fi first-person shooter, blah, blah, blah. They canceled it. They ripped what they thought was good of Titan and made Overwatch out of it. Now I want, like... Part of me wants to know, well, what the fuck was Titan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel because they made the characters as like they feel juicy, like they've got some meat to dig into to talk about them. So dig that out a little bit. I also feel there's not really necessarily enough content for $60. I think it needs a few more maps.
$40. It's $40.
Well, for consoles, it's $60, and you can also buy it for $60 on PC, and that's what they try to lead you to. But yeah, it's $40 for PC.
Yeah, PC gets $40, consoles get $60. They don't have a choice.
I want to talk about the particularly appealing to shooters, or particularly appealing to the people that like shooters argument, which I don't think is necessarily valid. I feel like this game is actually designed almost to like appeal more to the people that don't like shooters. I think like Mathis said, the way that they don't at all focus on individual accomplishments, at least outside of your own ability to see what you've done, I feel like that was like a very intentional design. I think from the ground up, this game is built to be the antithesis to the modern shooter, which is fuck everybody, I'm gonna kill you all. Like that's the mentality we get into when we're playing things like Call of Duty. But this just is, it's so much easier to breed a sense of like companionship and just fun. It just feels way more carefree and easy to get into, and a lot less is riding on things. You like, especially like, think about this too. In a game like Call of Duty, you've got something concrete to point at when someone's doing a bad job on the team. Like, if you've got somebody who's got a kill and 12 deaths, you're going to look at that and say, that guy's doing shitty. I'm going to rip on him. But in this game, you have no basis for that. The worst you can do is, I saw you do something stupid. You're an idiot. But even then, it's like, well, you're the one paying attention to my fuck-ups. What are you doing? So I really like the way that they really appeared to focus on making it approachable, making it something that anyone can play. I was touching on that too earlier about the fact that a lot of the characters, they don't necessarily rely on being incredibly accurate or being really good at shooters in general to play well. Like, one of the characters that Ryan plays a lot, Winston, he's the big monkey guy with the Tesla coil cannon, and you don't even necessarily need to be accurate to hit people with that. You can just like be in the general area of them and you tend to still do damage. So it has so many ways of opening up the shooter genre to new players that I really want to commend it for.
I think it was a very smart design decision to not show you your teammates' stats unless they did well. Mm-hmm. Like, that it stops you from having that, like, I died, I'm going to hit tab and see who's doing worse than me so I can have somebody to blame for why our team is losing right now. And then you really only see like how your teammates did on one spectrum at the end game screen if they did really well. And you go, oh man, you hit like 80% of your hooks. That's fucking ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You don't see like this person died 15 times.
Well, that gets replaced with like, our healer switched to a sniper. We have no healer and nobody fucking told us.
Yeah, well, that
because
is stupid.
Hero switching is imperative to the game. You have to switch your heroes to counter other heroes that might be destroying you. But unless you're playing on a stack, people can switch and it can go by you because it's only in the little text box in the bottom left. You don't know that somebody switched, and all of a sudden your Mercy, who is healing your tank, is now a Widowmaker, and you have no healer on your team, and that can fuck you. Like, that's where the fucking can happen. the team switching without people telling you they're switching, because you need, like, it's a shooter, sure, but you still need a good team composition. You need a tank, you need a healer, you need DPS, and if you lose one of those and there's no communication there, all of a sudden now you don't have a tank, so how are you supposed to hold the point? You can't, because their tank is taking all your damage while their snipers are destroying you. So there's that aspect that kind of can breed hostility.
I think there's still... I don't want to say this as though Blizzard has, like, solved the issue of player toxicity, right? Because it definitely still exists in this game. There's still people that are shitty. But I feel like they've done a great deal to actually address it. And I don't think a lot of other games are even trying to. And that's what I'm more impressed by, is that, like, they took measures that don't... like, they don't offend the people that care about their personal accolades. They don't hurt those folks who like to feel superior, but it also encourages those who would otherwise feel pretty shitty about themselves to continue to play and to get better. And I think that's what I find most impressive, probably. It's also just really fucking fun. Honestly, like, I can't say much more beyond, like, I have been having such a blast playing this game, and it's rare too. I know that because we have had multiple instances in, like, the past week where the group of, or not necessarily us four, but, like, all the people we know have all been, like, playing together. Like, we have multiple 6-stacks going on at once of people, like 12 of us all playing the game at the same time. That never happens. This is just something. There's a special quality to Overwatch. And it's not a one thing either. I think there's just so much going on with this game. It's got that level of polish. It's got the accessibility, the character diversity, the ability to just, like, get on and play is really well crafted. The UI, for the most part, is really impressive too. I will say one major gripe is that the custom game lobby is trash. It's really shitty. Like, I don't know how that all went under the radar so much, but oh man, that is abysmal and needs to be fixed. But
we'll see what happens at the end of June when the competitive mode comes in as well.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm happy that wasn't included from the get-go, actually, too, because I think that contributes heavily to like what the message is that they're trying to send from the get-go, which is we are not that concerned about who is the best Overwatch player. We want to make a game.
The game
where
is
everyone just
really
has fun.
hard. The game is really hard to watch too. It is color vomit everywhere. There's just too much going on to really spectate effectively, and their spectator mode, I'm told, is actually kind of not that great right now. But to watch that game, it's like it's like Battleborn problem, where there's just too much happening on screen to really enjoy watching it, at least in my opinion.
I would have agreed with you on that point in, like, my first 5 to 10 hours of the game, but at this stage, I don't agree with that at all. I feel like the
because you understand the language.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I know what all the abilities are, because I know what all the characters do, now I can, like, parse all the different parts from every attack, like all the projectiles coming from everyone. Like, I can, for the most part, gauge what's going on there. Yeah.
I think that it is probably, like, a standard deviation game of the year for me right now. Like, nothing else from this year even comes close. And, like, I get, like,
Really?
from a different standpoint, I can see being like, I want like a single player campaign, but it gets lost in translation for me. It's like asking for, like, soccer to have a single player campaign, or, you know, like checkers or something like that to have a single player campaign. Like, it's just, for me, a really, really entertaining sandbox to play around in. Not a sandbox in the same way that, like, Terraria or something like that is, but, like, it's just an environment that I can spend a ton of time in. Like, the fact that the games are relatively short, I can put, like, 6 hours into it a day and not really feel like that time is flying by. Like, people are like, oh, what about Gungeon? What about Dark Souls 3? I probably almost have as much time in Overwatch already as I have in... I probably have more in Overwatch than I have in Dark Souls 3. And I probably am coming close to Gungeon, will be soon at least. And I would not be surprised if by the end of the year I have, like, 3 times both of those games combined playtime in Overwatch.
I've got 42 hours right now, which is just fucking ridiculous for me.
Nope, it's good, but it's not, like, amazing. It doesn't do anything particularly special outside of being incredibly polished and really good looking.
Is that not incredibly special though? Like,
Because a lot of games
like,
do it. But the thing is, a lot of games do what it does, but do it really good.
Dark Souls 3. I'm like, Dark Souls 3 is a worse version of Dark Souls 1. I can't be like, that's my game of the year. Because then I'm basically admitting I'm like 2016 is not as good as 2011 was. Like, I really feel like it is heads and tails above like any multiplayer game I've played for sure since Rocket League, and it could be higher than Rocket League. This is like a level of like replayability I have not had personally since I was way into Dota 2.
Wow.
I agree.
I so don't understand this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't understand it.
And I'm kind of glad you don't, because it's putting me back into the real world here, and like I am shocked by how much I love this game, because I did not expect to at all. I had no hype. Zero hype. I barely knew what Overwatch was like 2 months ago, and now I am obsessed. Like, it's so fun. I'm totally into it. Like, the characters are appealing and entertaining. Like, they feel so alive. Everyone is talking to each other all the time. Just the smallest things that they do in this game to just make it so much better.
Dota does that, if that's your selling point, though.
I know, that's not, though. That's the thing. Like,
I want to divorce this idea that a game being replayable somehow makes it like cheap to like it or something like that.
No, it's not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't see the obsession with it. Like, I get it. It's Blizzard. They did the perfect marketing thing by only letting certain people in, building hype. They sold 7 million copies on it. It's a good game. It's a gorgeous game. It's polished to a spit shine. But to me, when I look at it objectively, it doesn't do anything super new outside of just it makes you feel good in that it doesn't let you compare yourself to others.
Rainbow Six Siege did something new from a multiplayer shooter perspective.
I agree with that.
I would rather play triple the amount of Overwatch than one times the amount of Rainbow Six Siege.
There's not one. We're not going to be able to provide you like a bullet point that's going to show you, okay, this is where the threshold is broken and this is why everyone loves it, right? It's a combination of so many different little things that are made so well. The level of polish not only translates to what you see, but it's what you feel, what you play. Everything is just so... I'm not going to use the word perfected, but just for what they're trying to offer.
It's got a Blizzard level of polish.
It does, yeah. It's all the little details, man. It's all the little parts. Like, just the lack of that horrible competitive feel. It's the characters each feeling like there were a team of people dedicated to making that one character as good as they could be. It all just feels so enjoyable. I think
it's the perfect storm of what you need to sort of be the catalyst for your competitive spirit. And I just don't think I have the same level of competitive spirit. So for me, it feels sort of like, hey, it's a cool game, but I don't get what I'm going to do with this for a month.
I think for me, actually, it's the other way around where, and again, I like the game. I think it's a good game. People need to stop saying I'm shitting on it because I like it. It's a good game. On the other side,
the
Nick,
thing here is like you're debating 8 out of 10 to 10 out of 10 with us now.
Right, exactly. I think like for Overwatch, for me, I'm on the other side. I don't think it's competitive enough. I enjoy games that there requires more skill, more
this
higher
is
competitive nature.
There's so many value judgments to say that Overwatch requires less skill than any other game.
That's hard to say.
Listen, it's not saying it doesn't require any skill. I'm not saying it's like a point, I just have to close my eyes and click. But there is an aspect of it that I would like to see. I would like to see stats. I would like to see how I'm doing against other people. I would like it for maybe the ult of Soldier 76 to not be an auto aim and just shoot at people. Like, I get it. That makes it makes really good, feel good play of the game moments, and it makes epic moments, and it like fills you with adrenaline. I think I'm just on the other side where it's like, I wish it was a little bit more competitive and it doesn't hit me as hard as it could hit me. It's still a good game. It's still got that Blizzard polish, and it's still super fun. But it's not a 10 out of 10 for me.
People can be super competitive in anything, though. I think you just haven't seen enough of the people going super hard on it. And the meta is still evolving, right? The game is still fairly early. And I'm sure those people are going to min-max every option they can, and they're going to have pro teams that beat each other's asses. And I imagine you would be into that at that point. At the moment,
I think the pro meta is like 2 McCrees, and then everything else doesn't matter. You just you get those
if
guys
you
on
like
the field.
it's high noon,
I
and
also
everybody's
feel
dead.
like one thing that a lot of people don't give Overwatch enough credit for, and admittedly I'm biased because I like the game a lot, but I don't think it's given enough credit for every hero feeling a lot different than every other hero. Like, I'm not saying that this is 20 games wrapped in one, right? That would be ridiculous. But this is certainly not like it's just the same as Halo or something like that, where there's just like 8 different weapons or 15 different weapons or something like that. Every single character does feel like a completely different way of playing the game, even within the same class. Like, if you're playing support, you got the like auto-aim healer that also has a damage buff and a res. And then you've got the aura healer that also has a speed boost and like some extra defense bonus. Then you have a man with like orbs around his head that can debuff enemies and also make everybody immune. And then you've got a lady, I don't even know what she does except making teleporters and like putting turrets down that annoy the shit out of you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like they really have done a great job of making like every single class different. And people are going like, yeah, what about TF2? Sure, okay. Are we no hero shooters ever again, I guess, because TF2 came out 8 years ago or 9 years ago and was pretty good. But like, it can't be an objective, like, well, this has twice as many heroes, so it's better. But like, at some point we have to move on, or don't, but don't be mad that other people are moving on while you're driving like your Ford Model T, which was awesome in 1937 and is still going to turn some heads on the road today when other people are driving, you know, like a Chrysler LeBaron or something like that. I'm not saying one of those is better than the other. I'm just saying, you know, what they've done is impressive within the same genre. Nobody's saying, oh, Dragon Age 1 was good, I'm not going to play The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It is a great game. I'm not like, for the 9,000th time, chat, it's a good game. I like the game. It is literally an argument.
Why don't you love it, though?
I know, right? Like, it's an argument of, I think it's an 8 out of 10 as opposed to a 10 out of 10. It's just not every game can be perfect to every person. And for me, I enjoyed my time on playing with it. I'm still enjoying playing it, but it's just not, I don't think it's going to be a game that sticks around in my library or hits my top like 5 games of the year so far. It's just it's good. It's good. It's a good game. And again, it looks like a fucking Blizzard game. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so good, and the mechanics are so polished. But
it's like it seriously is Pixar level animation. It's that good. It's ridiculous. Yep. But you know, I think we're going to talk about the game again. I also have to cut us a little short because I have a doctor's appointment that I have to go to, which is why we're doing the show early. But we will talk about it again, I'm sure. For now, I can't recommend it enough, honestly. I've not had this much fun playing a game probably since Rocket League came out. That's the most recent memory I've got. So yeah, there you go. Overwatch.
2016's Rocket League, man.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Mathis.
God damn it. Damn you for liking a game
Honestly.
And not loving it.
All right. Let's speaking of that impending doctor's appointment, let's get to everybody's favorite segment. It's Ask Roundtable. Every week you send in questions to roundtableyt@gmail.com. We're going to do our best to answer them. This week's question comes from Jewel. She says, "Hi, my name is Jewel, and I'm stuck in Pokemon. I'm going to be purchasing every iteration of this franchise until the day I die, and I've accepted my fate. Are there any game series that you guys find yourself stuck in? What do you think makes a game series worth your undying adoration? Is it simply a matter of nostalgia, or is it something more?" Mathis, I want to start with you.
Oh, don't start with me.
All right.
We say don't start with you.
Yeah,
I will
start
today.
I mean, because I mean, at this point, I don't think there is a series that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get this or get hyped up every year. But I do find myself buying MLB games every single year, no matter what.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Yeah.
interesting.
The show. I love the show.
The show is really good, man.
It's got I enjoy sports games, and the show has that kind of, where most sports games do nowadays, that RPG level of like being able to manage your own team or your own player or whatever. I find myself buying MLB games every single year. I buy Madden games maybe once every other year, but MLB games, I grab them every year.
Damn, dude.
For whatever reason.
That's a complete shocker. I had no idea.
I don't like them.
Cool. All right. Nick, how about you?
Sure. Any Metroid game that comes out, I'm going to be buying. Doesn't matter how many other M's they pump out. Okay, wait a minute. Federation Force. Federation Force doesn't count, though. I already have to give a caveat. All right, I'm not buying Federation Force, but every other Metroid game. They're the originator of the level design that I love so very much, and just in the off chance that they'll ever create a game as good as Super Metroid, I will easily shell out $50 or $60 more for every iteration.
Sure.
That's all.
Ryan,
You're lucky because we're never going to get another one again, Nick. So.
Am I lucky? Is that...
I guess, like, for me, the closest thing is probably the Souls games, but I don't know if I really have one. And even for Souls, I'm like, if they came out with like another Souls game in 16 months, I'd probably play it, but I wouldn't be that excited about it. Like I'm ready to take a couple years off from the Souls experience, I think. But apart from that, I might be just forgetting some. I mean, Isaac, okay, sure, but I didn't even know if you count that as a series as opposed to just like one game. I mean, XCOM is fair, but there's also only been like 2 XCOMs in like the last 5 years. And even when it comes to like the DLC, I'm like, I'll wait for the DLC. You know, I'll wait until like the definitive Enemy Within style update comes out. But I mean, apart from that, like I honestly can't really think of one. But sure, you know, Isaac is close. XCOM. If they came out with an XCOM 3 next month, I'd be all in. So maybe XCOM counts.
Cool. You know, 5 to 8 years ago, me probably would have won Halo franchise, but I think that's dead in the water for me at this point. Team Eco may very well be my...
They killed Halo for you?
They did, yeah. I think they did.
Oh, that's sad.
I mean, I played some of Halo 5 and it was fun, but I think that was just born of another bear, really. I think I had a different level of interest in games at that point. Team Eco, though, I love Shadow of the Colossus so much that I'm almost just willing to buy anything that they make from that point on, sight unseen. Like, The Last Guardian is just going to be an insta-buy for me as soon as that's out, which should be later this year, which is really exciting. And then beyond that, I have total confidence in them. I've really enjoyed their stuff. The 2 games they've made. Well, Eco I didn't even really enjoy nearly as much as Shadow, but it's still, it's not bad. But I love Shadow, and I want another experience like Shadow. So I have to play The Last Guardian, even if I hate it.
It's funny that you'll pledge fealty to like this eternal series of a thing based on essentially one game out of 2.
It really is one game, man. I'm serious. Like, it sounds ridiculous, and I hear myself say it, and it sounds ridiculous. But I like Shadow that much that I'm all in on them. And there's a second part of this too that I don't think we touched on as much. What do you think makes a game series worth your undying adoration? We have the nostalgia, obviously, there's a factor there, but what's the driving force behind all these being so appealing for you guys? Like MLB The Show, what is it about that?
Really like it?
Really
I don't know. I love the lore.
Yeah,
MLB.
man, there you go. You get really into the Chipper Jones backstory, right?
It's just the gameplay of MLB every year is good. I mean, it doesn't change that much, but
yeah,
I like it enough to get it.
Just does it all right for you, huh?
Something about the atmosphere and the way it was constructed, the soundtrack, the gameplay. I mean, it did for me what you guys are saying about Overwatch. Like, I got that excited about Super Metroid, and I've played it pretty much every year since it came out over again.
Yeah.
And I know everything about the game. I know where all the items are. Like, it's an obsession for me. And anything that lets me sort of revisit that moment, even tangentially, is good enough for me to want to buy it.
Right on. All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much, Jewel, for the question. Appreciate it. If you got questions of your own, feel free to send those over to roundtableyt@gmail.com. Time for everybody's favorite segment after their favorite segment, Nick's Weird Games. Every week, Nick's going to go get a weird game from his catalog of very, very many Nick's Weird Games. We're going to get a little theme song to support it as well. How about that? You had that Salt and Pepper track that you were bouncing to earlier. You want to try to do another rendition of that one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That would be like, let's talk about Nick's Weird Games. It probably is really lame. It came out in the early 2000s, and it got 6.5s out of 10 from every place. Let's talk about Nick's... Let's talk about Nick's Weird Games. Something like that.
Yeah, I like it.
There could be like a push it in there somewhere, too.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where you could work that in, but maybe a little too
It's
forced.
a new Nick's Weird Game to the tune of Push It. So Nick's Weird Game.
Gotta save that for next week, man.
We'll just do an entire Salt and Pepper discography for a little while. All right, what do you got?
Like a Mad TV skit.
Yeah.
All right. So hide your chats, first of all.
Yes.
Hi, Joe Chats.
Hide your chats, hide your wife. All
Jesus.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
right, let's do it.
All right, so we've got a PS2 game again today. Big surprise. From
Alice.
2002.
Okay.
That's my jam.
Developed by From Software.
Okay.
I'm soft.
Published by Age Tech.
This is not the earlier From Software one we had.
These are not Armored Core,
No,
right?
I
Yeah, we had
checked them
another From
against my
Software
list.
game.
I have a list.
It was an RPG,
It is an RPG.
but it's
Alright.
not the one we did earlier.
It's not the one we did earlier.
Is
I
it the
checked.
same game? Are you
It
sure?
is not the same game. Yeah, no, they've published and created more than one or two games, I
All
think,
right.
at this point.
Good.
Okay, we've got a medieval-themed role-playing game.
This sounds like the old game.
It's the fourth game in its series.
Yeah, of course.
And in large letters on the back of the box, it proclaims that the idol must be returned.
Ooh.
All right, let me see what I can read off the back here.
Return
An accursed
the
idol responsible for the destruction of an ancient race has resurfaced to wreak havoc once again among the kingdoms of man. You must return the idol to the ancient city to break its curse, but monsters of unspeakable horror haunt the ruins. There's a palpable fear in the air of the ancient city. Even the monsters themselves fear the evil that is returned.
Oof.
There's more than 40 areas of non-linear exploration where you seek upgrades for your weapons and armor, as well as components for magic spells. You can unlock the art of using powerful spells, discover items long forgotten in secret areas, and learn valuable knowledge from the characters you meet. There's more than 100 unique monsters and villains,
Does this
each with their own
game-
arsenal.
Does this game feature a character with no skin?
No,
Darn.
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
Character with no skin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who you mean there, but I'm
I
pretty
I
sure
thought
we're
it
not.
might give it away, but I don't think it will. So never mind.
Let's see, what do we have? Famitsu scored it with 30 out of 40. Game Informer scored it with 6.5 out of 10.
Lovely.
That's part of the song.
Yeah, you got it right.
2002, fourth game in the series.
Oh, man.
RPG.
From Software.
From Software.
Is it Dark Souls?
It's
Nope.
got to be Dark Souls.
No, it was Dark Souls on PS2.
Dark Souls 4.
PS2.
Dark Souls are just HD re-releases.
Await the warrior bold enough to attempt the journey, strong enough to face the This is all just
Was it
This is
was it
nothing.
Mario Party 4?
no.
Oh. It's the fourth in the series.
Don't think I know.
I'm trying to find if there's like a good detail I can give you that won't just.
Is there
straight up-
like a main? Is it like you name your own main character? Or does he have a name?
I don't know actually. He doesn't seem to have a name.
He doesn't
so
have a
maybe you
name.
do. It's been like 15 years since I played this, so I remember almost nothing about it.
Huh. I got nothing. This one's stuck.
Yep. It's got me.
What if I said it's a first-person RPG?
First, like Morrowind style?
Yeah,
How about
that's as close as I can get to spoiling it, I think, without just telling you what it is.
yeah, probably.
You have to tell you, I don't think I know.
I'm just hold on here.
Everybody tapping out?
Yeah, I'm tapping out.
All right. It was Kingsfield, the ancient
Oh
city.
yeah, God, no idea.
I have never
Wow.
seen that case in my life.
That is completely new.
Fourth game in the series, Kingsfield originally
There were
on
4
PS1.
Kingsfield games. I had no idea.
I think a lot of them came out on PS1. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, first-person RPG, reasonably well known actually in certain circles, but also quite obscure at the same time.
The first Kingsfield was released on December 16th, 1994 in Japan on the PlayStation.
Fuck.
Damn. that is you're really getting back into the recesses of Nick's Weird Games here, man. Shit.
Like, usually if you hold up a case, I'm like, oh, okay, I've seen that at GameStop before. No, I've never seen that case in my life.
I think it
That is
was not a
super generic.
common one
It's
to
a
come
sword
in.
and a shield. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Kingsfield
The first-
2 released in the United States after the success of the first game under the name Kingsfield. So Kingsfield, the original, was never released in the States. Kingsfield 2
Oh, really? I
turned
didn't
into
know that.
Kingsfield.
Okay.
The Final Fantasy shit going on.
Yeah.
First
No.
answer I see here, someone said Kingsfield 4. That was Strange Lightning with a question mark. But then the
Good
first
job.
affirmative, I see a Yup Kingsfield, W. Matthew. There's a few people that kind of poked around the edges. So good job, guys.
Well done.
Good job.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Roundtable Live. Thank you for joining us here live on twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast. If you did, you can follow us over on Twitter at Roundtable PC. Catch the VOD over on our YouTube channels. Myself, Bear Taffy, Mathis Games, Remarkably Smile. I'll upload it over there. Patreon is where you can go if you want to support the show financially. We want to thank the contributors to this week's episode who supported at the $20 tier and above, including but not limited to, as soon as this loads, there it is. That is Julian Applesgard, Scrody119, Polecat, Greenlight, Mavier, Oren, Saltzman, Christopher Flagg, General Crunk, Alexander Spillman, Jonathan Graham, Matt, Brizzlebrip, Myth Scarab, Eric Schooley, Mediocrities, Super Monoman, Smurfette, Logan, Ray, Justin, and Positron. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, and thank you everyone who is supporting, whether it's $1 or $5 or $10, $20, whatever it is, helps us out a great deal, so thank you very much for making those pledges over on patreon.com/roundtable. And thank you for watching this episode of Roundtable Live. We'll be back next week. Thanks for joining us.
Normal time.
Yep, normal time next week. Yeah, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you then. Whoa, that's loud. Oh, my God. There we go. Goodbye.